of communication and leadership skills in a very small and supportive environment of learners and listeners. The guiding force of Toastmaster International, founded by Ralphus Medley in 1924. Our 625th milestone meeting promises an abundant supply of fun, tempered with renowned keynote speakers. I gratefully acknowledge the inspiring presence of our keynote speakers from my IIM Ahmedabad alumni, Rashmi Bansal and Chandu, for taking your valuable time out and be with us from their hectic schedule. I take immense pleasure in extending a warm welcome to the sparkling galaxy of distinguished Toastmasters from the district and eminent guests. I gratefully welcome the foresighted founders like our charter president, whom we fondly call VNS, and their worthy successors. Indeed, today we have the president and VP from our Medley Gavel Club, Shruti and Shraddha. Welcome to the milestone meeting of your parent club, Medley Toastmasters. You know, Gavel clubs are a way of providing the Toastmasters experience to groups who may be ineligible for a regular membership due to the age. Because in Toastmasters, we need to be 18 to be an actual member. Toastmasters, an institution which instills in you the importance of our time. Our former presidents have given Medley the trait of punctuality and efficiency by instituting the aviation industry style of ETD at 40:55, and hence we start an hour before at 1 hour or 55 minutes. 98% of meetings takes up on time and mostly close before or ahead of time. We have been the President's Distinguished Club continuously till this year after 1 year of inspection. That's almost 12 years in a row. With the sound of rain in the background because of Toto, I'm sure along with me, we are going to have a wonderful afternoon. To steer to the meeting, we have a trio, Amita, Atishay, and Sharavanan. Toastmaster Amita, the ever smiling but confident lady, a great support in the current committee. Atishay, my mentee, like who was talking about in the last minute, I still remember the speech which she has given. You know, the mentor-mentee relationship is that Toastmaster foster, a pillar of our life even. Sharavanan, a Toastmaster from my professional fraternity of automobiles. Let's put our hands to welcome the TMOD trio. Over to you, Amita.
Thank you so much, Presiding Officer Toastmaster Raghunath C. Nair. Your introduction always gives a pump into the entire Toastmasters meeting. A very good afternoon to my fellow Toastmasters, distinguished guests and friends. What a day today is. I am indeed very proud to be a Medleyan and say that we have reached our 625th milestone meeting today. My journey with Medley has been only for the past 2 years, but I assure you it was fruitful and very eventful. For someone like me who walked into a place like Toastmasters looking around to see a hall full of new faces was like walking into my college on my very first day. The same amount of nervousness, the same amount of excitement was there when I walked into Toastmasters as a guest. But the only reason I came back to Toastmasters week after week as a guest, joined as a member, and then moved into the XFOM as a secretary was only because of the love and warmth that was given to me by Medleyans, rightly called my second family. It is wonderful to have gathered here today. It definitely feels like a family get together, and so happy to see such bright faces, enthusiastic faces of Medleyans, distinguished guests from the district, future Toastmasters, and of course our esteemed keynote speakers. The world has marked today as a very important day in the calendar. Today, the world is celebrating the spirit of togetherness, sharing and cherishing the bond within each family. This wonderful bond sticks us all together, sharing our differences as one big family. And yes, today is the International Day of Families. What a great day to have our Medley milestone meeting, because Medley has taken immense pride by stating and believing that Medley has been our second family. So So this day can be whatever you can make it. You can make it as happy as possible. You can have a gala time with your family. You can just pull each other's leg. This day can be completely what you make of it. It's a day to celebrate your family and acknowledge what your family has means and means to you. But isn't it crazy that home is the one place that you are loved the most, and at the same time that is the only place that you act the worst? It seemed very controversial to me because it's very true, and this kind of bond will not be shown anywhere else because people love you when you are at your best behavior, right? But at the same time, home is the only place where you are loved the most when you act the worst, or you can say it is more like a place where you can build yourself upon. The world we discover doesn't really love us like our family does, and that is why we chose family time to be today's theme for the Medley Milestone meeting. My family on the whole is a four-member family. There are endless number of things that I could talk about my family, and of course, all of you can because it's family. But there is just one thing that I completely love about my family. It's how all of us men put our craziness together and it all just comes together, right? So I have this weird habit of giving names. So instead of asking tea and coffee to my mom, I just say, "Mom, get me drinks." And after one point, everyone just started calling tea and coffee drinks, and when everyone in my house just starts shouting, "I want drinks, I want drinks." So it's just something really crazy, and when it all comes together, I think family is a blessing on the world. And Medley Toastmasters Club opens its arm wide for members from diverse and intriguing backgrounds. And I, as a 2-year-old Medleyan, have witnessed with my own eyes that the warmth with which Medley has received each and every member and cradled them like literally newborn babies, because Toastmasters is such a big world. And when all of us enter inside Toastmasters, we literally feel like newborn babies. And Medley Toastmasters have cradled each one of them amazing in an amazing way. So during our 575 fifth milestone meeting, our very own Toastmaster Jagannathan took us through a magical and musical journey by singing our club our very own anthem, which Medley takes immense pride at playing whenever possible. But this song was a symphonic representation of the medley of people that our club has. And the best part about this particular anthem is that it has 6 languages. This is an ode to our togetherness and the musical personification of our bond that we share. I am sure that all of you would have seen that agenda has Medley's anthem on it. But are you all wondering what's new? The big surprise about this particular anthem is that for the milestone meeting 625 especially, the anthem was recreated by 18 of our own Medleys. Hidden talents came to light when these members were requested to sing for the anthem just small pieces, but hidden talents came out and all of them were asked to come forward and sing. And I must say, we had a gala time recording the whole thing. Thanks to the excellent guidance of Toastmaster Jagannathan, that the new version of our anthem is out today, and we're really proud to release it on our 625th milestone meeting. I'm sure you will all enjoy the rhythm and melody, and good luck in trying to spot the familiar voices that you hear in the song. Can I request Toastmaster Surya to please play the anthem?
Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
Come celebrate the past, let's shape the future. Come celebrate the past, let's shape the future. Ready, set to வாசென்ற நாட்களை சேர்ந்தென்னும் கழிக்கலாம். இனி வரும் நாட்களை சேர்ந்தொருவாக்கலாம். மேலே இரண்டாம் குடும்பம் अतीत का जश्न मनाए भविष्य को आए। आओ अतीत का जश्न मनाए भविष्य को आए। मैंने दूसरा परिवार കഴിഞ്ഞ നാളുകളെ ചേർന്നാഘോഷിക്കാം. മെനഞ്ഞെടുക്കാം നമ്മൾക്ക് ഒരു സ്വർണ്ണ പുതുപുലരി വേണ്ടി. രണ്ടാം കുടുംബം
So, Medley, please tell me, how did you like that video? A big salute to Toastmaster Jagan for putting up with all of us, like putting together all of our singing skills and getting such a beautiful song outside. Thank you so much. So, moving on. Well, that was really amazing. It's going to definitely take me a lot of time to come out of it, and I'm sure that this recreation of the anthem is going to stay in the hearts of Medleyians for a long time. Now, let's move on to the integral session of today. I'm sure that most of you here are here today, especially for this person, our keynote speaker, Ms. Rashmi Bansal. Rashmi Bansal is a writer, entrepreneur, and a motivational speaker, and author of 10 best-selling books on entrepreneurship, which have sold more than 1.2 million copies and have been translated in 12 languages, including Korean and Vietnamese. Rashmi is the #1 business book authors in India. Rashmi's first book was Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish, the runaway bestseller on 25 MBAs from IIM Ahmedabad, who went on to create successful businesses. Her other popular titles include Connect the Dots, I Have a Dream, God's Own Kitchen, and Touch the Sky. Rashmi's latest book, We Are the Champions, was released at Jaipur Literature Festival 2020. Rashmi co-founded Jam, Just Another Magazine, which went on to become India's most popular youth magazine. Her first job as a journalist was with the Times of India. She has been regular contributor to Business World, Business Today, and consulting editor with business news channel Bloomberg UTV. Rashmi's mentor, Rashmi mentors numerous students and young entrepreneurs and also teaches a full credit course called Road Less Travel at the Ashoka University. She graduated in economics from Sophia College, Mumbai, and did her MBA from IIM Ahmedabad in 1993. We welcome you to be a part of our family today, ma'am, and it's great to hear from you and to know that you're finally here in front of us gives me goosebumps. So we're looking forward to hear from you. Over to you.
Namaskar. Thank you very much for the warm introduction, and I'm very grateful to the Toastmaster Medley's Club and Raghunath Nair for inviting me here today. In these difficult times, I think to be in a space where there is so much positive energy is certainly very uplifting. And I thank each of you who are here today because all of us are going through, questions. We have questions in our mind that really what is the certainty of life? What is the meaning of life? And it's a very opportune time to remember that there are two things which matter greatly. One is the power of family, which we've all discovered during the coronavirus lockdown. And the second is the power of dreams. So I'm going to be talking to you on both these topics. My talk is called Follow Every Rainbow, because that's the title of one of my books, which is on women entrepreneurs. But before I get into the details and talk about women and entrepreneurship and family, I just want to say that today I've been introduced as a best-selling author. But as Mr. Narayan Murthy said, the journey of overnight success takes 20 to 25 years. So I was not born an author. I never knew that this is the path my life would take. It all began with a very small dream. And my dream was just that I wanted to get my name published in the Times of India newspaper. So when I was in the second year of college at Sophia College in Mumbai, I wanted to, contribute to a column called Middle, which used to appear every day. And so I took the first step. I wrote my article, I typed it out, I sent it by post to the editor. After exactly 1 week, I got a rejection slip saying that there is no space and we cannot publish your article. I contributed a second time, third time, and then the fourth time I got the same rejection slip. Now there were two things which could have happened. Either I could have told myself the editor knows best, I'm really no good as a writer and I should give up. Or what happened to me was that I got more determined and I said, I have to make this happen. So I kept thinking of new ideas and new, articles. And after 40 attempts, on the 41st attempt, my article got published in the Times of India. So that was the start of my writing career. And I think every dream begins with that first step. And that's something that makes the dream possible. Otherwise, it's just too daunting and too big to achieve. So coming from a family where my father was a scientist and everyone around me was studying to go into engineering or medicine, I didn't find a lot of supporters for my dream, because my dream then became to become a writer, a journalist. And I think sometimes this family institution, which we love so much, also does become an obstacle in the path. Our parents and well wishers, they want the best for us, but sometimes they're rooted in the past, and they don't really understand the conviction that you may have. So I think it's not easy in such a family environment to actually pursue your dreams. When I visited the US a few years ago and I interviewed 40, 50 entrepreneurs, I mean, none of them really talked about their family in detail. They just talked about themselves and what they were doing. But in India, whenever I interview an entrepreneur, it always starts from, their growing up years, their background, so much of influence the family has, which is positive. But to achieve your dreams, sometimes you do have to go against your family. So it's also not a very straight path. Although I wanted to become a writer, initially I actually did go and join Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. And I had no interest in studying management, but since I got admission, I was a very bright student. I thought, let me go and see what MBA is all about. At the end of 2 years, I was more convinced than ever that I'm not cut out for this corporate rat race. So I dropped out of the placement. Now you can imagine dropping out of placement is a pretty big deal because most people go to the IIM to get a job. And naturally, again, my family wasn't very pleased, in particular, my father. But I persisted and I said that no, this is what I really want to do. I want to be a writer. So I worked with the Times of India for 2 years. And then I started my own publishing company. I launched a magazine called Jam, Just Another Magazine, which was aimed at young people studying in colleges all across India. And that's when I became an entrepreneur without knowing that such a word existed, because back then startups and entrepreneurship were not a buzzword. But again, it was a dream that I wanted to fulfill. So I think my life has been powered by dreams. And another dream was to write a book. And that opportunity came to me when IIM Ahmedabad gave me a project to compile the stories of 25 of our alumni who had done something unexpected. They had left their jobs and started a business. Now, around 15 years ago in 2007, when I did this book, it was really unheard of for MBAs to do that. Today, it's quite normal. So, again, that book, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish, became quite path breaking because for the first time, we read about people who were not Birlas, Tatas, or Ambanis. There were people like you and me, who took that leap of faith and they went into business without having a godfather, without having, business in their blood. So the very first email I got from this book was that I read your book and I quit my job. So that gave me the insight that, stories are so powerful. A story can motivate somebody to do things that have been lying dormant within him or her. And so I went on to write a whole series of books. And one of these books is Follow Every Rainbow. Now, I never wanted to write a book specifically on women entrepreneurs because, in my mind and in my experience, women are as competent, as capable, as visionary as men. But when I looked around and I saw the people I'd featured in my earlier books, I realized that I don't have that many women entrepreneurs. And if I think a woman entrepreneur, the name that came to mind was Kiran Mazumdar Shaw. And I have greatest respect for Kiran Shaw. But one thing I realized is that she didn't have any children. So the problem that most women grapple with is not that they cannot run a business, but how to manage their career and family, or manage their business and family. So it's really the balancing act that is most difficult for a woman. In the prime years of her career, in her 30s, in her early 40s, when the men are climbing up the ladder and putting all their energy into their business, the woman also has to look at, the physical, emotional, mental wellness of her family and of her children. So I think this is what I realized in my first book, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish. There was an entrepreneur who said that his wife delivered a baby and the same night he went by train to meet his client. And I thought, my God, I mean, no woman would ever be able to do that. I think things are changing. I don't think today's father in 2021 would do that. But in 70s and 80s and maybe even 90s, there were certainly a lot of men who could just ignore the family part, leave it, outsource it to their wife, and carry on with their business. So the book Follow Every Rainbow is really just an attempt to understand that, uh, you know, how can women make it work for themselves. And what I found was, after a little bit of difficulty, first of all, in finding women who wanted to really scale up their business. So a lot of women were running small boutiques or small enterprises, but in their mind there was always a barrier that if I make it big, it is going to become a hurdle and I will probably neglect my family if I do that. So actually, I found a very interesting phenomena. In this book, I actually talked about three different kinds of women entrepreneurs. And I used the metaphor of the Devi or goddess, which we have in India, because, you know, 50 years before Kamala Harris became vice president of America, we had Indira Gandhi, who was the prime minister of a huge nation. So we have always revered women on the one hand. On the other hand, we have female infanticide. So we are a complex society, but at some level, we do revere the strength that women have. So I found that there was a whole group of women whom I called as Lakshmis, because when they started a business, it actually became something so powerful that the rest of their family members joined and helped them to grow it. So one of the examples in my book is of a lady who started her business at the age of 39, with just rupees 8,000 borrowed from her husband. She was the wife of a naval officer. Her name is Meena Bindra. So if I tell you her name, it may not sound familiar, but I am sure that you have seen her product, you have used her brand. It's called Biba. It's the largest producer of ready-made salwar kameez in India. It's a 400 crore company today, and it started from her home as a hobby business. But as it grew, and it got customers, and the department store Benzer in Bombay said, okay, we would like to stock your products. Her son, who has just completed college at that time, he said, Mom, I want to join your business. And at first it seemed a bit funny to her, but then he insisted and he joined and he helped to grow it. And then her second son also joined the business. So I think this is a very unique partnership of mothers and sons, which I've seen in many women-led businesses. Definitely there's a lot of merit to including your family in the business, because then it becomes everybody's baby. Okay, as an entrepreneur, you have to think 24/7 about your business. And if you, as a woman of the house, are away most of the time, or in your factory or in your warehouse, it's going to impact your family life. So when it becomes like a business which everyone is involved with, and it's a team where mostly the women actually are the creators, they are the marketers, they are the people who are the soul of the product, and the other team members bring in different skills like finance, logistics. So if you see, there are many companies like this. Recently, Cremica Foods did a public issue. This company also has a similar story. It was started by Mrs. Rajni Bector. So this was one kind of women enterprise I found. The second I found were women who actually, I call them as Durgas, because they did not plan to start a business, but some calamity befell them. Maybe they had a death in the family, or they got divorced, or something terrible happened, due to which they had to step up and start a business to look after their family. And at that time they found a hidden strength within, which came to the fore, and gave them that you know edge and that X factor when they needed it. So without knowing it, they discovered skills like leadership and many other things along the way. So several stories in my book of that kind. And the third, and I think the emerging trend, is of Saraswatis, who are women who are well educated. They can easily do a job, and definitely they always wanted to have a professional career. But when they entered the corporate world, they found that it's not, again, very well suited to their needs, because most corporate jobs actually want your, you know especially before coronavirus, it was a 24/7 involvement with the job. If your boss tells you tomorrow morning please fly to China and meet the client, you're supposed to do that. If the boss likes to stay till 10 o'clock at night because that's how it is, you have to do that. So in such an you know in such a culture, there is not a lot of flexibility that a woman has. And also, many women didn't actually find the work they're doing meaningful, because what one thing that I discovered while writing this book was that women are not driven by power, prestige, and uh, money as much as men. Okay, they want to do something meaningful with their life. So for these two reasons, I actually found some amazing women who'd left very high flying jobs to start a small venture and grow it and raise it the way you would bring up a baby, right? I mean, I think majority of women I meet have a much longer time horizon for growing their business. They don't so much imagine that today I'll start and within 5 years, it will go from uh, zero to infinity, which is the dream that we are being sold through this concept called a unicorn. You see, when you plant a seed in the ground, you have to nurture it. You cannot put extra water, extra fertilizer, and expect that within 5 years it will bear fruit and give you mangoes. No, the same way a human baby also takes, not 5 years, but 18 to 20 years to grow up to adulthood. So I think that's a feminine way of thinking. And I think even it's not something that only women need to adopt. I think with this coronavirus pandemic, one thing that has happened is all of us have realized that very aggressive go-getting way of working, where work and home are totally separate, is no longer viable. Most of the men actually now have to chip in more in their homes, and they realize that what a balancing act it has been. And I think going forward, the new generation, the millennials, and after them, they want to work for kinder, gentler corporations. So somewhere we need to have I think, a balance between, reaching the top the fastest and also retaining our health, our mental wellness, and our family unit. So these are some of the lessons from Follow Every Rainbow. I think what I'm finding today, 10 years, almost 8 years since the book is released, is that suddenly we have seen skyrocketing number of women entrepreneurs, from a small level, which is home chefs, to the level where they're getting funded by venture capital. So I think it's the blossoming of talent and potential by women who have very big dreams and who want to definitely do meaningful things. Many of their ways of thinking and looking at the world are different, and I think it's going to be a much richer place because of their participation. So I hope that all of you have some dream that you are already following or that you wish to pursue, but don't postpone it. See, all of us think we have infinite amount of time, but today again we have to reflect that who knows what will happen tomorrow. So don't put off for the distant future a dream that you can start working on today. It can even be a small dream, like my dream was to see my article published. If you have a passion lying dormant, activate it, you know, live it and feel it and make your life meaningful and beautiful. So with that, I wish the Toastmasters Club, many more fruitful meetings. 625 is definitely a milestone, and I'm really impressed by your commitment and your, you know, vitality for this wonderful art of speaking. So thank you once again. And I'll close with the lines which inspired my book title, which are from the movie Sound of Music. Climb every mountain, ford every stream, follow every rainbow till you find your dream. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
A quick
It was
question. I think, Amita, we have time for question and answers. Right? So when IIMA being a very prestigious institute and dropping out of the job time is something like a criminal thing among the peers. How did you find and face that? It's like it's more of a peer thing that yeah, all of your colleagues or your classmates are going for the job thing and job placement, and you're just living with her.
Actually, I felt a great sense of relief when I made the decision because I knew it was right for me, you know. In fact, had I gone into the job, like people told me you can always write as a hobby and go and join Hindustan Lever and, you know, do a marketing job. But I thought if I'm going to spend all my time, you know, selling soaps and detergents and credit cards, all my creativity is going to get sucked out of my brain. That was my understanding of myself, that what is not going to work for me. And luckily, I also attended a course called ERI, which you might have also, you know, gone for, where we explore ourselves. So we spent 4 days somewhere outside the campus. We had gone to a beach resort and government GTDC resort, and we sat there for 4 days and we were asked to reflect about, you know, what we really want in our life. Where are the knots, where are the problems? And I think the problem with me was I knew what I want to do, but I also want to please other people, and both things cannot be compatible always. So many years it took for my family to accept. Like my father, around maybe 5 years ago, wrote an email to me actually saying that, you know, I'm very proud of all that you have done and your decision was right. And you know, everyone knows me as your father now. So I think, yeah, I mean, my childhood dream was to be an astronaut, you know, since my father was an astrophysicist. But I realized I don't like maths, I don't like science, I don't have aptitude. Even if all my friends have gone to IIT, suppose I crack the entrance exam, I go there, but I don't have aptitude. So I'm not going to be good at that field. I'll be very mediocre. So I think the most important thing is to know yourself and then to really enjoy what you do. So I still enjoy writing. I'm still trying to learn how to be a better writer. During pandemic, I started writing fiction. So I published my fiction short stories on my website, rashmibansal.in. And I also started teaching writing to anyone who would like to learn how to tell your story, how to tell other people's stories. So I think life is just more about experience and less about security. And if you do something you love, you will find a way to make it work for you and pay you enough so that you can lead a decent life. I mean, I don't own 5 condominiums and so on. वो नहीं होगा कभी, but I don't want that.
Understood. Thank you so much, Amita. Over to you.
Do we have any more questions?
Yes, may I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Ma'am, what
Yeah.
do you think of the grand idea we hear of demolishing that iconic structure, which to me is the most unique thing, relatable thing for IMA?
Yeah, so well, I also agree with you. I think that the character of our institution is definitely very much enriched by the architecture which was given by Louis Kahn. And he was a visionary and he was somebody who did not think of making buildings. I mean, he actually created an atmosphere and experience for you. So well, we have actually, I am one of the people who has been involved in trying to convince the management to reconsider this. And we have formed a group. I'm so sorry, I have a dog on, you know, who really doesn't, you know, listen to me. So yeah. So we have formed a group which is, you know, aimed at trying to preserve the heritage, and we have been in correspondence with them. I visited the campus in February, and you can be part of this group and help us. We have in fact enrolled as many alumni who would like to support this, to write to them and offer our expertise. So there are many engineers and other experts within our alumni community who have offered their help, you know, to stop this, you know, to make it possible to restore the buildings rather than demolish them. So please join that effort. I will send the details to Raghunath. You can join that.
Very happy to hear that. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Anyone else from the meeting? Want to ask another question? Please feel free to unmute.
Can't hear you at all.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, do any of you have another question for ma'am, which you can ask her?
One question, Amita.
Yes, Dinesh. Go ahead.
Yeah. Good evening, madam. Just last year I read your book, Stay Hungry, Stay Foolish, and it was brilliant indeed. So I want to know, how were you motivated to write this 25 stories, since it was the very first book and it was brilliant success? What was the motivation behind you to write the book?
Well, when I was writing the book, I had no idea that anyone would read it. It was actually a project commissioned by IIM Ahmedabad, and we were going to distribute it free at a conference which was held on 30th June 2008. So 1,000 copies were going to be given there as a souvenir. So that's a project I took up. But as I met each entrepreneur, each one was so inspiring that I really put my heart and soul into the book. And also, I wrote it in a very simple manner because when I studied at IIM, we had case studies, which I found very boring. So I did not want to write a book of case studies. I think I was more inspired by Amachitra Kathas and the entire storytelling tradition of India, that we should tell a story and not like give all facts and figures. And I didn't even give a message or moral of the story. I just gave the story. So I enjoyed writing the book. The book got released, and then we got started getting calls from some bookshops asking, ki, can we sell the book? We've heard about it. So then we produced 5,000 copies, thinking ki thode bahut log honge who want it. But then to our shock, like it just took off. And the truth is, the book got very bad reviews from the traditional book reviewing community. Somebody wrote it's, like one of the worst books he's ever read, for example, because that was their opinion. But the readers enjoyed it so much that, they were telling everyone that they knew that. So teachers were giving to their students or parents were giving to their children. Somebody said, I'm distributing it for Diwali instead of sweets. So all these things, I did not have any role. Those who enjoyed the book, they passed it on. They, made it what it has become. So honestly, to tell you, nobody knows how to write a bestseller. You can only write the book which is genuine to you. I wrote it with a very authentic spirit. I didn't think कि readers को क्या चाहिए. मुझे जो मिला, like when I met people and I found them inspiring, I shared that feeling with others. So maybe that's why it connected. I really don't know. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for being such
Thank you.
down-to-earth person and for sharing us such thoughts. It's really nice to hear someone who's achieved so much, talk with so much candor and so much humility. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I'm sure all of us loved your session. And I'm sure you're going to get a lot of calls after this saying, ma'am, we need your help for writing a book. So that's great from us. Thank you so much, ma'am. Please sit back and enjoy. Wasn't that amazing? Okay, seriously, she just changed the whole atmosphere. We're all bubbling up with so much energy right now. And with that note, I take off and I would like to pass the stage over to our second PM for today, Toastmaster Atishek. My friend, over to you. Stage is yours.
Thank you, Amita. Am I audible and visible? Just a quick audio video. Thank you. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So let's start with a very crazy thought. If I told you that the 625th meeting and the theme for the day are an amalgamation made in the stars, would you call me crazy, or would you say it's the summer heat that's got into my head? I assure you, it's none of the two. You see, here's this thing. Astrology, the science of the stars, says that 625 is an angel number that indicates progress, love, and ties extremely well with the theme of the day. Before today, I did not believe in the science of the stars, but I did believe in the science that the stars show us. And today's milestone meeting might just be one of them. Let me explain the significance of the first digit in 625. The digit 6 is associated, according to numerology, with domesticity and the love of home and family. It is symbolic of how every family has this intangible bond of love amongst the members. There are quarrels, there are fights, there are highs and lows, but this bond of love is what holds the family together. For the next event, we have DTM Sunil Jose, an intellectual property lawyer and a high energy, happiness-inducing presence of a man who is all set to get everyone in this meeting pepped up and on their toes. Without revealing any more, let me invite DTM Sunil Jose to please take over the stage for a round robin session. DTM Sunil, please put your hands together for him.
Hello, am I audible? Yeah, thank you. Thank you, TMOD. A warm welcome to the meeting number 625. Welcome to an exciting round robin session today. I will be the round robin master. So let me explain the rules for you. The theme of the session, round robin session, is my stay at home days. So first I will speak on this topic for 45 seconds. Then I will call the next speaker who has to speak for next 45 seconds. The only condition is that the first word should be my last spoken whole word. It cannot be like is, was, hence, because of conjunctions or prepositions for that matter. It should be a whole word which I spoke. I will pick the word anyway. So when the second speaker completes 45 seconds, I will ask to stop and call third speaker, who will start speaking with the last spoken whole word. So there will not be any timing device for your kind information. I will politely interrupt and ask you to stop at 45 seconds. So that will be the timing. Okay, I'm sorry for that in advance. So let's start. Can we start? Okay, all right. So here it goes. One second, let me time myself. The menace has gone. The world defeated Corona. Everything opened up. Meantime, my office asked me to attend office in person. I was super excited because finally I had the opportunity to meet people in person. But hold on, did I exactly want to go back? I started rewinding my stay at home days. I cherished the days on which I could blame the Wi-Fi network for not preparing my presentation. It had been long time since I wore full formal dress, which I thoroughly enjoyed. I enjoyed watching the fight between my manager and his wife when he forgot to mute. So the next word is, the next speaker should start with mute. I call upon Lavanya, Toastmaster Lavanya. You have to start the speech. Toastmaster Lavanya, are there?
Lavanya is not available.
Okay, Toastmaster Shankar.
Yeah, Sunil.
Shankar, you start with mute.
Okay. So the mute is the very good option in Zoom or any other application. Mostly when we are not speaking about the mute, we need to put on the mute. But most of the people, especially Sunil says that he heard it many of the words from his manager, especially from his wife. So when you are attending for any of the calls, mute playing a very vital role. Even for in our office meeting, in many of the instances happen, either the barking the dog or cutting the hedge or water coming from the terrace. Everything it is mischievous and breaking the situations. So it's been for a year when we used to have in
Thank
the Zoom
you.
meeting.
Thank you, Shankar. Next speaker is Sharanya. Meeting, starting with meeting. Sharanya, are you there? Suddenly all people vanished.
Meetings.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sharanya, there?
during this
Yeah,
COVID
yes.
I really enjoyed attending all the meetings, especially Medley meetings. I really never missed the meetings except for the past few days because I had my personal work to go on. So I learned a lot from Medley, and I also encourage and expect everyone to join all the Medley meetings. It has really given me a great pleasure, great learning. I have learned from each and every one of them here with their speeches, their motivations, and their educational meetings. So, thank you, Sunil.
Okay, the word is thank you. DTM Jayakar. DTM Jayakar.
Yes.
Sir,
am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Very good afternoon. What is the name? What's the word?
Thank you.
Thank you, DTM Sunil Jose, for the wonderful opportunity that you have given me. Well, this is the time for Corona. It's called Corona time. And I had a conversation with Corona in the usual morning walk. My conversation with Corona was so great, I must say. All that Corona said to me was, everyone is blaming me for all the problems that is happening, including the deaths. All of you must be ashamed of murders, unlawfulness and immorality that is going on. God made you as angels and sent to you, but you have become devils. And that's what Corona told me.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So the next speaker is DTM Nina John, starting with devil. DTM Nina John. Are you there?
She's not available.
Okay. Toastmaster Dinakaran. Toastmaster Dinakaran, not available. Okay. We'll go to Toastmaster Lakshmi Ramesh. Okay. Can I move to DTM Sambat Saurirajan? DTM Sambat, sir.
Devil is the word that made Sunil remember me. I don't know why he is an advocate, because I am sometimes playing the role of a devil's advocate. He must have remembered me. It is very easy to split this whole world into two categories, angels and devils. But unfortunately, when we go through life, we slowly learn there is a devil in every angel and there is an angel in every devil. We cannot categorize people either this way or that way and start liking them too much or hating them too much. Nobody is one extreme. This is
Thank you, sir. Extreme. The word is extreme. Toastmaster DTM Gayatri. Extreme.
Extremity, I would say, is the root cause that brings out the angel or the devil in us. Moderation is the key to success, says my mentor. Anything in moderation will make us an angel, and anything in excess, even if it is angelish, will convert us into a devil. We started with the corona and thank you, and today we are landing up at something extreme. But I think if we take this also as an experience, I think this is also going to be an enjoyable moment. And as long as we don't get into any extremities and stay in moderation, I think we'll all be surviving and enjoying. And probably we'll have something more angelish to look forward to as well.
Thank you, Gayatri. I didn't ask you to stop. Anyway, you stop. So
Moderation is the key, Sunil.
moderation is the word. Okay, thank you for reminding me. I was just finding it difficult. Okay, by the way, friends, we are moving away from our topic. The stay is supposed to be stay-at-home days during Corona. Okay, so moderation is the word. I'll go with Toastmaster Gobinath. Okay, Toastmaster Rashmi. Okay, can I go with Toastmaster Sundareshan? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunil. Moderately, I think I have spent my time with my family for the past 1 year. But I will not thank the devil Corona. For me, it's the devil. Well, this 1 year period, I had enough time to collect a new hobby I started actually as a Toastmaster, which I haven't done all these years. I became a good listener to my wife and to all. And I started collecting some quotations and some books names which I have to read also. These are the good side, which I may or may not do after everything goes away, because procrastination sometimes chases us. But when you have lost some loved one, which is not going to come back in our life, certainly this Corona in our family life is a devil and not an angel at all. We have to remember throughout our life, let's celebrate humanity when we live and make our environment more glorious and happy. Celebrate humanity.
Thank you. Humanity. I was just looking for a word anyway. Thank you so much. So,
Lakshmi
hello.
Ramesh is available, sir.
Yes, Lakshmi Ramesh, you can start with humanity.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, humanity
45
is
seconds. Yeah, yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, humanity is the one which we are currently seeing. The people who are helping others, actually, whether they have or not, they are not at all bothering about it. Even yesterday we saw in the news that the security, whatever he earned, have been given as a donation. It's a very good cause, actually, even for the children, whatever they are saving for their needs, actually, to buy a cycle or computer, whatever, but they are donating in the sense. So hearing all these things, definitely it is they are with the humankind. Definitely these people are working together. So we need, even we have to work, help each other, help each other to come out of this situation, pandemic situation. This is
Thank you.
really,
Thank you, Lakshmi.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Situation. Guest Subhashini, start with the situation.
Situation is very complex right now, but what I do when I was staying at home was I picked up my paintbrush and started painting. I don't know what I'm doing. I started with a small beach wave, and then it became a mountain, and then I started drawing flowers, and then finally a portrait. My entire family was in awe of my painting skills, which I myself never knew. So then my mom said, "What next? What are you gonna do home?" Then I thought, no Swiggy, no binge eating. When I stayed home, I thought I'm gonna get into fitness to get off the extra flesh off my face. So then I started workout every morning and every night. And that routine made me feel so good, and I enjoyed the lockdown, staying at home. Apart from spending my time with my family, I had a lot of time for new learnings and new things that came my way to understand how talented I am.
Thank you. Talent or talented, Toastmaster Deknath Misra. Talent.
Thank you, DTM Sunil. So, yeah, this pandemic has helped me to explore my talent in many ways, which I thought I wouldn't have had it not got the opportunity to stay at home. I explored my talent in cooking. I explored my talent in dusting. I explored my talent in listening, listening to the family members. I explored my talent in seeing the empathy among the people. I explored my talent in on seeing the humanity of the human beings. I explored my talent in many other things which wouldn't have been possible when I was working in my regular office to home job, and the focus was more of the work which I never enjoyed or never used
Thank
to
you.
enjoy the
Thank
way
you.
I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Venkadeshan is here. Toastmaster Venkadeshan. Venkadeshan. Venkat. No, he's not here.
Yes,
Toastmaster-
yes, Sunil.
Yeah,
Yes.
yes. Start with work.
Sorry?
You have to start with work.
Sorry, I couldn't get
Working,
you.
yeah. You have
Can you
to
please
start
repeat?
the speech with work. W-O-R-K.
Okay. Work.
Yes.
They used to talk about that smart work is better or odd work is better. But according to me, smart work, you will lead into your procrastination. For odd work, you'll get the result, but it will take some time because everything should be in logical. Odd work, they used to say that the physical strains and other things, but you'll get the result. Very good result in through odd work. Smart work, you can succeed, but you cannot learn more things in the smart work. But you know the loops and other things. That is why I prefer only odd work. Because of odd work, you can achieve so many things in this world. You can take example of the leaders.
Thank you, Venkatesh. Thank you, Venkat. Okay, guys, I'm still reminding you, we have to speak on stay-at-home days. We are more turning to philosophical and motivational and emotional. Okay, please try to connect with the topic. Okay, so now we are starting with leaders. Okay. Karthikeyan, we are starting with leaders. You're there? I saw you right now. Okay. Okay. Karthikeyan, yeah, we can't hear you. You're on mute.
Unmuted, but we could not
Yeah.
hear
You
him.
could not. Okay. Sorry, we'll come back to you. Dinesh, Toastmaster Dinesh. Everyone is taking a break, it seems. I can only see Kalyan. Toastmaster Kalyan, starting with leader. He's gazing at me, okay.
A leader is the one who always guides people, tells people what to do. Somehow we all get to know this getting either working from home or coming into an office. When we all dressed up, we are here, sitting in an office. Now I need to understand leadership is much more easier when I was just working from home. Reason being, at least in a Zoom meeting, I get to know what is happening, their feelings, and then I have pause, I can react, and I can do something else. Here, whereas in this particular place where sitting at office, dressed very formal, it's already 3 o'clock, it's my coffee time, and at home it would have been a second coffee would have happened. Whereas sudden all the way come to office after this pandemic is over, here giving about my regular meetings is becoming a challenge. That is when all the leadership lessons
Thank you,
I
Kalyan.
learned.
For you, nothing is challenge, I know. We are starting with the challenge for next speaker. I think Karthikeyan is trying hard. Can you hear us, Karthikeyan? Okay, we'll come back to you. Dinesh, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. We are starting with, what was the word?
Challenge.
Challenge, right?
Challenge, yeah.
Talent. Challenge, sorry. I also getting confused, sorry. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
All of this seems to be very challenging time for us to stay very home, because last year only we thought that we would be out of this code and we would be free after 1 year. But this year it has been even more worse, and the challenge has been bigger and higher for everyone, especially for those who are in the field of medicals and doctors, professionals, and people who are in those industry. The challenge area, and also the people who are also doing the business itself. It's a very challenging time. Everyone thought that we were post the worst part of COVID, but now we are not even near the worst part of COVID. Is that what most people would say. So perhaps these challenging times are also very assuring times where we know our best leaders come out, and we can make sure that at least for the next way we were prepared. And this will perhaps be an eye-opener for everyone. These challenging times is definitely not where we lay down our guard, and we perhaps become more protective and and we take up the challenge in a better manner.
Thank you. Dinesh, you actually repeated challenge many times. So every time I was supposed to take challenge again. So it was a challenging time for me also to pick up the word. So the word is manner. We are going back to see, guys. It's a challenging time for me to pick up people. If you switch on the video, it will be easy. Okay, so you will become in the queue. So let us go to Toastmaster guest speakers. See, guests like guest Kavita, guest Kavita Murugan. Is there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, please. The word is manner. You can start with manner. Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes, even in the hard time, we are behaving how manner we are behave towards the human. That is really important. We saw many ambulance which is waiting outside of the hospitals and who take too much time to get help from the medications and medical officers. However, they were also feeling so much pressurized situation. So for I request and I feeling absurd that people were aware of the situation, but still they forget about what to do. Without staying at home or without they not take responsibility to take care of the family as well as the society.
Thank
They
you.
wander around the road.
Thank you. Thank you. So the word is society. May I invite DTM Nina John? The word is society.
Society is something that we feel surrounds us in many ways, and we keep saying, oh, what will we do? What will people say if we do this, that, and the other? But we don't realize that we are actually what makes up society. So if we change our thinking, if we change the way we look at things, and we accept that some things have to be changed for the better, and some people have different values and some people have different ideas, then we will be better as a society, less judgmental, more forgiving, more loving, and more inclusive. So that's how it is if you are a society that builds up people rather than a society that excludes people.
Thank you. Exclude. DTM Sugandhi, the word for you is exclude. Sugandhi is there?
Sugandhi is not there.
Okay, Sugandhi is not there. Karthikeyan, I think your mic is working now. No, I can't hear you. I can hear. Sorry, Dinakaran.
You repeat the word.
The word is exclude. Exclude.
Exclude is very key.
Yeah.
While we are sitting at home, we have to exclude the bad thoughts that could come if you are sitting idle. So I would request all of you, spend your time properly with family and help them and support them, and also help your kids to learn, and also try to contribute to the society by staying at home, not spreading the corona, and then also like exclude any habits or thoughts of going out and then making difficult to the entire community. Please stay safe, stay at home.
Thank you. Stay safe, stay at home. Toastmaster Ramesh
Toastmaster Sunil, sorry to interrupt you. I think the timer has been showing a red card for very long.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I don't want to. Yeah, thank you so much for the wonderful session.
Yeah,
thank you so much for the wonderful session. It was
One
great.
second, I'll just wind up.
Yeah, sure,
Okay,
sure.
so I just started. I just started with some experience started at my home, and we have gone all the way around the world, philosophical, emotional, and inspirational. Thank you so much for all those who participated. Thank you for the opportunity, Team 625. Over to you, Atish.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sunil. And I'm sure we all had a great time. I could see so many different faces, at least switching on cameras, even if momentarily. So many different voices. It's good to hear, good to see all of you. Thank you, Sunil, for the wonderful session. Now, coming back to my tale about how 625 has astrological and numerological significance, let's talk about the number 2. 2 is the symbol of coming together, and it represents duality. Duality as in the day and the night, black and white, balance and counterbalance. Now, when we are a part of a close-knit family, there are always disagreements. You know, all those Saas Bahu Hindi serials that you saw on the TV? Those were not completely wrong about this. But here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. The strongest of bonds are formed after we are able to rise and make peace with the disagreements that we have, and after we learn to accept differing opinions. This is in fact what brings families together, and to every dramatic episode of disagreements, there is always a happy ending that leads to everyone in the family feeling closer to one another. The highs and the lows, which the number 2 in 625 represents. Now, the next keynote speaker for this meeting is a serial entrepreneur and an embodiment of persistence and tenacity. A man who was involved in the creation of 10 plus enterprises in varied fields, the co-founder of Scopy Knowledge, a 1,000 plus person company in the knowledge process outsourcing industry, Mr. Chandu Nair. He has been a part of 2 exits and has had direct experience with angel, VC, and strategic investor funding. An angel investor himself, he is associated with the PE firm Fulcrum Ventures, which is based in Chennai. Currently focused on guiding entrepreneurs all over the world, Chandu is a resource to several incubators and advisory bodies and regularly serves as visiting faculty at some of the top management institutes all over the world. Now, I could go on and on with the long list of Chandu's achievements and successes. However, it would take me the rest of the meeting, and I will be robbing all of you, my kind audience, with the opportunity to hear the man himself. Therefore, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to welcome on the virtual stage, Mr. Chandu Nair.
Thank you, Atishay. Thank you for that short and crisp introduction. I'm here today because of my good friend and classmate Ranga, who unfortunately lost his father yesterday. And I just take a couple of seconds to pay our condolences to the deceased soul, and may his soul attain moksha. So today, I hope I've got now the ability to share my screen. Unlike Rashmi, I do need to use Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Great. So unlike Rashmi, I will not be speaking extempore, etc. I'm going to be talking on a topic because today is Family Day, and today is also the time when a certain C word is very prominent in our lives. And I don't want to mention that word. I'll be like Harry Potter, not mentioning Voldemort's name. So that's my topic for today. My topic for today is how to stay relevant. And I think it's a wonderful time for us to discuss this, because more than anything else, I think today we've realized that family has become more relevant. But have we always realized it? I don't think so. So what's the agenda that I have for us today? One, what's happening around us? If you take the last several years, there are some things that have been happening without us properly noticing it, whether it's to do with family, whether it's to do with companies, whether it's to do with brands, people, etc. After that, I'll examine, what exactly is relevance. Then I'll also talk a little bit from my personal experience, that is what's broken and what's working for either for you or for me. And finally, what is it that you or I can do about all of this? Because this is a very, what should I say, when you talk about relevance, a very difficult thing to sometimes comprehend, to sometimes understand. So let's take the context. One, This is a topic I've been grappling with for some time. But like you, I'm also an elbowed, which is I'm also going to be learning along with you. And in these last 1.5, 2 years, we've had this new C in town. We have been learning new things about ourselves. For example, a meeting like this 2 years ago would have been unimaginable. But today, we are taking it as part and parcel of life. Very obviously, we think there is no alternative. In fact, perhaps if Corona becomes like the flu and we learn how to manage it, we may still want to continue with these kind of meetings or hybrid meetings rather than have a full physical meeting. Who knows? The second thing is no one's the expert here because each lesson for you is unique. Each context is unique. Each circumstance is different. So there's no one who's the expert. You are the expert of your life, hopefully. Number three, therefore, you got to believe in yourself and you got to just go for it, do it. And more importantly, all through, just keep an open mind. And more importantly than keeping an open mind, take accountability for your life. Because if you don't take decisions for your life, somebody else will. And you will lead the life that somebody else wants. So I come back to Charles Dickens, who a couple of centuries almost ago said, it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. Around us, we see all examples of this. Even today, I was watching a minister actually go and inaugurate, not a minister, a recently elected MLA, go and inaugurate a call center somewhere in Chennai. And there was no social distancing and quite a few people weren't wearing masks. You look at Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium, where the big tablet remdesivir is being sold, supposedly to combat COVID, but it is looking like a super spreader event. Is this wisdom? Is this foolishness? It's for us to decide. Some of you may remember these products. Some of you weren't around when these products, were born after these products have disappeared. Anyone who can name what this first product is? It might reveal your age. Warning.
Manual typewriter.
No, it's the cyclostyle machine.
Yeah.
Okay, the second one is your rotary phone. The third one is the old radio. And the fourth one is your ordinary film, which along with the company which popularized it, Kodak, seems to have disappeared completely almost. Okay, so products. Anybody remember these companies? Nokia is still around, but a pale shadow of what it was once upon a time. The second company, this one,
Dell.
Enron, it created a controversy in India a few years ago. These two are famous airlines which today don't exist. Nor does this famous Big Five consulting company called Arthur Andersen. I don't know how many of you remember these Indian brands. Thrill, Binaka, Alvin, Moti Soap, Dianora TV from Chennai, Rajdoot motorcycle or Luna moped. Okay. Anybody remember these brands? Probably some of you. What does this mean really? Whether you're a product, you're a person, you're a brand, you're a company, does it really matter? Because it's so easy for you to just get forgotten, to be off the shelves, to be off public memory, to completely be irrelevant in no time at all. Now I have a question for all of you. Once you die, are you relevant? Once you die, are you relevant?
Yes, for some time.
Sometimes you are relevant. Okay, what is one barometer of establishing relevance? So let's use what Tom Cruise in Jerry Maguire said. Let's follow the money. So let's look at what happens to some people, because even after death, they still seem to be very relevant. And if the relevance is measured by money terms, let's look at 6 of these people. And these are, I don't know if you can remember this gentleman. He's a real thriller who told us to beat it. Okay, this man, I think somebody may remember the characters more than the man. Anybody can guess? I'm sure the younger guys perhaps might guess.
Walt Disney.
Dr. Seuss. Third guy, this guy, if you look at the background, you'll know who it is. Okay, he's the cartoonist behind Peanuts, which is your, Charlie and all that. Schulz, Mr. Schulz. This one, anybody into golf? Mr. Arnold Palmer. This man? Elvis Presley. And this lady, the only lady I put her because though she came in way down in the rankings, I put her because I needed to put one woman.
Monroe.
Marilyn Monroe, okay? Now, what's interesting about these people? Last year, this dead man who died in 2009 earned 48 million. This man earned 33 million and he died 30 years ago. This man, Mr. Schultz, earned 32.5 million. Arnold Palmer, who died just more recently, 5 years back, earned 25. This man died 44 years ago. Elvis Presley still earns 23 million. And Marilyn Monroe at number 13 has earned 8 million. All these people probably have earning more dead in 1 year than many of us might earn through our lifetime of working. So it's very fascinating that a dead person has more relevance many times than many of us who are still living and working. This is the list I got it from. And you can make out that Marilyn Monroe comes last at number 13 among the top 13 dead earning celebrities. It's a very fascinating thing that death does not make you irrelevant. But there are others, it's not just about money. There are people who have touched us even years after you're gone. In America, a very famous question asked in the baby boomer generation is, where were you the day Kennedy died? And many people who came a couple of generations later asked us, were you blowing, what happened when the candle in the wind got snuffed out, which is Lady Diana. And if you take MGR closer home, a remastered film years after his death ran for 175 days in 2014. Clearly, some people have influence significantly much more beyond, after they, after they die. And more recently, the people's president, Abdul Kalam, when he died in IIM Shillong, the death touched people all over the country. The outpouring of grief was very palpable. It was very visible. And it is something even today, people talk about Kalam, Abdul Kalam, and the greatness of the man. So what is it that makes some people relevant? The question, to ask is, what makes it, that some people relevant even years after their death, while many of us live life as if we are dead? Just think about it. And Corona is a time during this COVID-19 pandemic. Last 15 months has been a struggle for a lot of people. Livelihoods are at stake. So many people have been pushed into poverty. Many people have been pushed out of middle class. So it's a struggle. So are we letting our candles burn out very quickly, even as we live? That's a question for us to answer and to think and pause and wonder, what is it that we can do to make sure that our flame is burning bright? So one exercise, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to ask these questions. When you die, who will miss you the most? And why will they miss you? Similarly, in your life, whose death hit you the most? And why did that death hit you? If you can answer this question a little more deeply, you will understand the role that different people have in your life. You will understand the relevance that you play in their lives and their lives have played in yours. So I'm just giving you 10 seconds to just absorb this. This is not an exercise to do now, but this is an exercise for you to reflect on and think about a little later. Moving on, I'm just trying to show you how the world is changing and how the pace of change is making us sometimes a little anxious. Just look at this slide. When the airlines first came, it took 68 years for airlines to get the first 50 million users, 5 crore users. Progressively, as each new product came, automobiles, television, computer, blah, blah, from years, it moved after a long while, from tens of years, from decades, it moved to single-digit years. More recently, it's going into months, and more recently, it's going into days. Pokemon Go just took 19 days to get 50 million users. But hey, our own Arigya Setu app, I know it's compulsion, baby, but last year, it just took 13 days to get 5 crore users. So the pace of change today is overwhelming. It's difficult for a lot of us to adjust to the fact that things which happened over months today can happen in nanoseconds. News which traveled over days on end, many years ago, today is flashed in a matter of seconds thanks to social media, digital thing and this device called the mobile phone. Okay. Before, as the old saying goes, by the time the truth has a chance to put on its pants, a lie travels halfway across the world. That's the kind of change that we are experiencing, and technology is making us sometimes a little too crazy. This is a slide which has come so many times. It's very interesting that the biggest companies today are companies who don't own anything. For example, Netflix is today the biggest distributor and owner of movies, but it doesn't own any cinema theaters. The biggest operator of taxis, Uber, doesn't own any taxis. Like this, there are so many changes happening. We are trying to make sense of all these changes, and we're finding it difficult. And many times, because of this difficulty in managing this change, we find ourselves asking this question: do I have it anymore in me to understand what's happening around me? Am I with it, or am I somewhere falling behind? So this is a crazy cartoon I came with, the Simpsons cartoon, which is this old man, Homer Simpson's father, saying, in my teenage years, I used to understand, which is I used to be with it. But over time, they change what it was, which is what is current. Sorry? Now he says, I am with what isn't, means what was the earlier thing, and what is happening today is all weird and scary to me. Today, a lot of old people who are staying alone, who have their children abroad, many of them are feeling like this. Many desperate messages you get on WhatsApp. My mother is staying alone. She needs remdesivir. She needs some home cooked meal. She needs caregivers. She needs this. She needs that. It's scary. It's difficult. And it's not just scary for older people. It's even scary for a lot of younger people, because jobs today are not what jobs used to be earlier. Today, a job is a contract, not a lifetime employment guarantee. So with all these things, it's more important for you to understand what to do. But unfortunately, the human mind is like the frog in the kettle. It lives in denial. It lives in the hope that things would go back to what it was. For example, Kodak is the best epitome of this symbol. Why did they actually had the patent and they had the first product for digital film? They didn't introduce it because they were scared it would cannibalize their existing range of regular film. Sony didn't have this problem. Sony introduced it, and Sony killed. And over time, Sony and others killed through their digital cameras, killed a company like Kodak, which is more than 100 years old. So it doesn't matter how long you've been around. If you aren't relevant, you're dead. So as Alvin Toffler very memorably said, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read, cannot write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So have you got it in you to understand where you are falling behind, where it is that you have to really figure out where to improve your skills? If you are a project manager, for example, or a senior program manager in a software company, I'll tell you something, that role is getting dead. If you haven't understood, the beautiful line a guy in technology told me, at the end of the day, there are only going to be two kinds of jobs. One, those who can write the algorithms and logic that will tell the machines how to operate. And two, people who will do what the machines tell them to. These are the only two kinds of jobs that might finally be available. So if you aren't in a creative profession, or you aren't in a highly intelligent profession, you'll end up doing drudgery work. You'll end up doing what the machines tell you to do, unless you relearn, unlearn, and skill yourself adequately. So coming to this, what exactly is this thing called relevance? And why is it that I'm hammering away at this today? So relevance means you need to be connected, you need to be linked with things which are bigger than yourself. And I'll explain to you how I did it in my case. I still think I'm work in progress. And I love this quote from Oliver Wendell Holmes. He said, we don't grow old because we stop playing games. We grow because we don't stop playing games because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing games. So one of the things I'd request even people who think they're older is, listen, keep playing games, keep having fun, enjoy life, man. It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter whether you've got gray hair, you have no hair, or you have, one thick mane of hair. What matters is whether you can let down your hair. That really is what I would say. And this is why Mark Rude, very rudely said, creativity is easy. Originality is difficult, but relevance is a bitch. Because many times I've seen people, for example, started a company in the 1990s, which is a computer-aided training for the CAT exam. Atishay didn't mention it, but I also belong to the same institute as the Rashmi Bansal. And I started this, computer-aided training in the early 90s. It was too early. We were irrelevant because people still wanted a human teacher. Today, in a day of Baijus and in a day of White Hat Junior or in an academy, that would have been a great success. But that time when I started it, it was a complete disaster. Our two centers in Bangalore and Bombay, a huge amount of money down the drain. So being relevant means being timely, being mattering at the time when the other person, the user, the customer really needs you. So it is, if you look at it very pragmatically, it is to figure out what piece you can be in the larger picture and how to fit that piece neatly. That's really going to be a struggle. And it's always, I love this definition that Steve Blank gave about a startup. He said a startup is a business enterprise in search of a business model. A startup is an enterprise in search of a business model, which means keep playing around with different ideas, different concepts, and finally figure out where exactly you fit and get there and become the best at it. So how do you do this? One way is to use this mind map. To take your life map, there are so many aspects to you. There's your family, there's you yourself, which has aspects of your career, your well-being. I think somebody talked about their working out and removing the flesh from their cheeks. Well, that includes that as well. Includes your friends, creativity. Somebody talked about painting, I guess. Some people talk about their money. It's a good time. A lot of people are today telling you, prepare your will, make the trust, figure out what you need to do with your money, because, hey, something happens to you tomorrow, God knows whether your family knows whether they're taken care of or whether everything is okay. And ask yourself this question, because a lot of people are asking this question: what exactly is the purpose of my life? And is being cooped up 15 months, is this going to be the rest of my life? What do I really need to do in order to change my life? So let's take a couple of quick exercises here. Okay, think about it. Who are the top 5 folks in your life right now? Can you list them? Or is it a challenge even to find 5 folks? A lot of people are having the challenge, by the way, so you're not alone. If you say, I can't name more than 3, it doesn't matter. But for the top 5 folks in your life, what is the role that you play? Similarly, what role do they play in your life? And why do they play that role? Okay, and this is a very tough question I'm asking, the third question. Okay, do you feel relevant? Do you feel needed? Or do you feel used? Those of us non-resident Mallus may, perhaps the Malayalis, may understand this thing about the Gulf husband. The fellow who goes to the Gulf to earn money. After 20, 30 years of hard work, he comes back thinking he has raised a family. He thinks he has raised 2 kids. He's got a happy wife. But many times he comes back thinking that all he was a money-making machine. He's not a father. He's not a husband. He's not a companion. He's not a son. He was first and foremost only a money-making machine. That was his whole role. Other things became secondary. So the question is, are you relevant? Are you needed? Or are you being used? Similarly, you can ask yourself the question, are you also using people and thinking they're relevant? So ask yourself, relevance is not being just useful. It's much more than that. It's a significantly higher level of magnitude different. So what makes you relevant or irrelevant? Okay. As I mentioned, there are so many aspects. The question you will ask yourself, which is the question I've been asking, is what exactly do I want to change? Is it mind? Is it my body? Is it about my money related aspect, profession, or some other larger purpose like, thinking, becoming the next Brahmana Maharshi, or improving the way of the world is, blah, blah. Okay. If you take one singular aspect of health, there are so many aspects to do in health. So this is basically breaking it down a little further. Now, what did I do? Because I'm coming to already 20 minutes, I'm going to finish in the next 2 minutes and leave 7-8 minutes for Q&A. One of the things I realized is, I'm a curious learner and active listener. You might remember, you might see I put a 3-letter acronym there called YKW. Anybody has a guess as to what YKW is? Except you know who. Okay. So the you know who is, I'm a married person. So you know who I'm talking about. Second is to take some risks. No harm. Nothing is going to happen. The very important lesson I learned early on in life is to take my work seriously, but not myself. So I have a joke at myself. I think in India, we need to lighten up a lot more, is my submission. Okay. The third thing is I've discovered that it is important to give in order to receive. So I am a mentor, free mentor many times to many entrepreneurs. I volunteer through Rotary and other means. I'm an angel investor, which means I back and I support early stage startups. I write often. I write book reviews, I write articles, etc. Business Line is one of the places where I usually write. I teach at IIM Indore, IIM Kozhikode, and a couple of other places. I also network and collaborate with peers so that I understand and learn quite a bit more. I told you I'm on the, like Atishay said, I am on some incubators, etc. And then I also try and support others, including the kids. Okay. What makes me irrelevant? So what's missing for me? Now that I don't have a full-time company or whatever, I feel I don't have real hard targets. So I'm missing sometimes a real professional challenge. Secondly, I find because of this, maybe I'm exercising mostly my mind. I'm not exercising so much my emotion, my gut instinct, etc. And that sometimes, leaves me a little wanting. So the feeling I get is sometimes I'm like a spectator or a bystander. I'm more watching, not actively participating, not totally 100% engaged. And then earlier I used to travel abroad, and all over the country also very often. Now I find I've got myself confined geographically. Last 15 months, I got confined even further geographically to within Chennai, which is even worse. So that is kind of limiting my exposure. And I also feel I haven't been investing in myself, in learning some new skills. For example, I wanted to learn coding or trying to build an app. I still haven't done it, So this is something I feel. And many times because of this, because of various reasons, I don't think I've been around for key folks always, whether it's the spouse or whether it's parents or, the kids or whoever. What have I admired in others? I think some people don't have a career. They have a calling. They have a passion and they give that passion. I've seen people who are creative people in cinematography, writers, corporate executives, entrepreneurs display tremendous amount of passion and they believe in what the work they're doing. I've also seen people reinvent themselves tremendously, from moving from one kind of business to another, I have a private equity friend who's completely become a professional painter, completely reinvented himself. Phenomenal. Another person who's become a book writer, a banker. There are others who are like one of my things is like Ranga. He relocated from the US to be with his parents, even though it hurt him probably might have affected his professional career. But he came back from the US to be with his parents. And there are many others who do very, very tough, hard, grinding work. So the question for you is ask yourself which roles do you value in life? And what is the time you need to make in order to do each of them? Which is the one thing that you could do on a regular basis that would positively impact your personal life? Somebody mentioned exercise, somebody else mentioned something else. Please look at it both professionally and personally. Why? Because at the end of the day, your choices determine your life. So you're not born a winner, you're not born a loser, you're born a chooser. So can you make that right decision for yourself? Or at least can you make a decision and then work towards making it right? That's the question I leave with you. So the person I really admire is this lady, Madonna. From the 1980s, over 30 odd years, she has reinvented herself. And she's managed to stay till a few years ago kind of current, which is quite a difficult thing to do in the world of music. Closer home, closer home, baby. Man was down in the dumps when he had his own company, Amitabh Bachchan Productions and all that, was broke till Kaun Banega Crorepati came. And for a big star to become a TV host at that time was considered infra dig. He didn't care. Today, he's there in every role and, he's ubiquitous in every advertisement, probably more than the younger stars. He managed to keep relevant. So I don't know how many of you know Hindi, but this is a famous song by Mukesh. And if I have a permission and indulgence, एक दिन बिक जाएगा माटी के मोल जग में रह जाएंगे क्या रे तेरी बोल, दूजे के होंठों को देकर अपने गीत, कोई निशानी छोड़ फिर दुनिया से डोल, एक दिन बिक जाएगा माटी के मोल. So what this means is someday you'll get sold for the price of clay. What's left of you behind, whatever you did say, so to others' lips, give a song your own, leave some vivid mark, depart this world alone. End of the day, guys, we end up in this, most of us, some of us in a 6x3 plot. So understand one thing, whether it's the best of times or the worst of times, it's the only time you've got. So stay relevant. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chandu. Wonderful thoughts about staying relevant. I will now open the floor up for questions. We have a few minutes. Are there any questions for Chandu, sir?
Even comments, I don't mind comments as well. Observations, comments, questions, anything. First and foremost, if there was a poll, I'd have asked a question, I would have put up a poll as I do in my IIM classes, which is, did you like this session? So we can give some feedback, I'd be very happy. I'm a person who craves feedback. I'd really appreciate it if you gave some feedback.
Right. Chandu sir, personally, I have a lot of good feedback. So a lot of the quotations, a lot of the words that you used inside the presentation, they were very hard hitting. Like, not a loser, not a winner, you're born a chooser. Okay, so it's simple words, nothing that you have to look up in a dictionary, but it hits hard. It hits home that, okay, I always have control. And then the fact that you opened up and showed us what you have been doing and where you feel you're lacking takes a lot of courage to be able to open up to such a large audience and talk about those things. I don't have a question, so I would let the audience ask a question, but for feedback, sir, it was a wonderful session. Thank you. Anyone has a question? If not, we can proceed. Okay, thank you. Thank you once again, Chandu sir. Wonderful speech. And if you would like to give out your social media or any other handles, sir, where anyone from the audience can reach out to you if they want, you can put that on the chat.
Yeah, one of the good things I did in life was to disconnect myself completely from Facebook many years ago. And because of that, I never even went on to Instagram. However, I'm on Twitter, but Twitter is a very, what should I say, one-way dissemination tool. So it doesn't make me much of a difference. I'm also on LinkedIn, and I think a couple of people on this group possibly know me otherwise as well.
All right.
Raghunath knows how to get in touch with me, and so does Ranga.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Chandu sir. With this, I come back to my story of explaining the significance of 625. We talked about 6, we talked about 2. Now it's about the digit 5. The number 5, it stands for the ability for a family to be divided in 3 different age groups. It stands for 3 different things. The curiosity in the kids, the adult's passion, and the elder's wisdom and experience. The number 625, in fact, is everything that we in the Medley family stand for. We have all 3 generations of members in this club. Every digit in 625 reflects the values that all of us embody. Everything that went from meeting number 1 to meeting number 625, all the efforts, all the work, all the sweat, tears, everything that went into bringing the club to this number. The number 625 as an angel number reflects all of that. And with this explanation, the explanation from the stars, I hand over the baton to Toastmaster Sarvanan and request him to take forward the proceedings of the day as the TMOD. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Toastmaster Adishay. Good afternoon, everybody. 900 hours. 900 hours. There was a study that was conducted very recently on how many hours an individual spends on social media, mobile applications annually. 900 hours. That is 2 to 3 hours on a daily basis. We are spending our time on mobile phones, apps, social media. How many of you are spending more than that? or less than that? Good. Means like most of the people are not using at all. Okay, right. So rest of the time, what are we doing? We watch movies, cricket, and then do our work. Because of this work from home, what happens? There is a distortion between our work and family, and our family time becomes a casualty. How to revive the family time? That's an important question for every one of us. How to revive our family time? Apart from social distancing, we have to do social media distancing as well. That is one of the way we can revive our family time. Otherwise, what will happen? Because of the social distancing, even our close relatives will become distant relatives if we don't take care of those family time. So we have to be very, very clear about that. And that is the topic as well as theme for this milestone meeting. And Sachil Tendulkar once mentioned, when destiny throws a stone, we have to make it as a milestone. And that is what is all about. What was 600's theme? Keep climbing. Medley is keeping on climbing. And we are now in 625 and it will go on forever. Medleyans will go on forever. When we talk about this, I will provide you some of the tips on reviving the family time in small capsules. So when I talk about capsule, why should not we talk about time capsule? Time and tide wait for none, but the time capsule waits and is a great way to learn what happened in the past. So let us hear from DTM Thomas on time capsule. DTM Thomas is a former district PR manager, former senior vice president communications in Hinduja Group, district TT as well as ISC finalist. Please put your hands to welcome DTM Thomas Abraham.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Saravanan. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the day's fair unfolded, I'm sure you got a glimpse of Medley today. The healthy, fresh foliage of youth is what you saw, right? Yet, let us not forget that strong trunk and roots steeped in history. We will trace the high points of the last 13 years through a quick time capsule, through the recollections of our past presidents and how they led the club, collectively presenting today for the young millennials an opportunity, a great opportunity to grow, flourish, blossom, lead, innovate, and entertain as they are doing today. Medley 575, we had an anthem taking shape, Medley anthem, with the script and the music. But today, I must wholeheartedly compliment the new gen of Medley for adding life with 18 energetic voices. Jagan, I particularly like the sense of bonhomie, joy, and the tinge of mischief you brought in through those suppressed half notes. I loved it in this rendition. And I honestly look forward with all of you to a milestone meeting in the not distant future when we will have a live performance. The same song with a live performance in a physical meeting. That's Medley. Keep climbing, keep improving. Back to my job. To present Medley's 13 years capsule in 20 minutes, we need the crucial help of a timer who will have for us time cards at 1 minute, 1.5, and 2 minutes with a generous 30 seconds grace period. Now, the birth of Medley is too familiar and too famous. At 600 milestone, we had a passionate account of that from Mrs. Shanti Swaminathan herself, whose brainchild Medley is. We've also heard accounts in the past from DTM Nina, DTM Sauri and the founder members. Now, unfortunately, two of our senior members apparently are not in, including, correct me if I'm wrong, I'll be very happy to be proved wrong. I do not see Charter President VN Subramaniam. I must also mention to you that I spoke to the second person in line, which is the venerated Shakespeare of Medley, president during 2011-12, who brought the golden gavel habit to Medley early in 11-12. That is Toastmaster Tyagarajan. I spoke to him. He was not keeping well. I do not think he is be able to come today. I, I request all of you to join me in wishing and praying for his quick and complete recovery. Therefore, the next in line in this lineage, in this proud lineage, we have DTM Guru Prasad, former division governor and district humor contest podium finisher, to complete the ancient history of Medley. Uh, I request the timer to kindly grant one generous additional minute to the first of our speakers, DTM Guru Prasad. So please show him 2, 2.5, and 3, with 3.5 as the limit. Over to you, Toastmaster DTM Guru Prasad, please.
Thank you very much, DTM Thomas. I'm really proud and privileged to be here and walking you through the erstwhile journey of Medley Toastmasters when I started my career with my baby steps. It was in 2011 that I joined, and at that time we had one Toastmaster, Nagasami, as the president. So for the first time I entered Medley, and I was so surprised to see that a person who calling himself as president is down to earth, reaches to everyone in the hall, doesn't sit in a chair on his throne, just declaring himself to be a president. He moves around walking to people, delegating the responsibilities of running a meeting. That's what I saw in him. We used to have some fantastic Toastmasters under him. Some of them are continuing their Toastmasters, and some of them I get a message saying that my image is not very clear. I think it has to do with either my camera. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fine.
I think, anyway, 625 of Medley is well known to everyone. Let me keep the spotlight on me. So that is one style where we had our popular Toastmasters who went up to the district finals. At the time, I was even new to my the contest and other stuff. So it was Toastmaster Nagasami who taught us distributing the authority, our roles, and delegating the power. Then came up Toastmaster Sundaraman, who became the president for one term. He made everyone understood what is called organization, how to conduct meetings organized, how to brief every role player and make sure that the meeting happens in the expected order. That was one fantastic lesson. He also helped every member realize meetings are conducted for their own benefits, and whatever slot is given to them shall be followed up very good. And meetings, we should show an image of being Toastmaster in a meeting. It's not just some meeting, somebody comes in and speaks and go on. That kind of a setup he created for Medley. And I learned a lot during that period. Then came, of course, our Reverend Toastmaster Tyagarajan, who is superlative when it comes to appreciating people. He used to recognize everyone, give them motivation, give them hope, let them challenge. And it was during his period that I started participating in contests, though did not win it. So he used to be very, very friendly, motivating. Of course, if DTM Suganti is here, he will add a lot to me. That way he brought everyone together, make everyone participate. Then came Toastmaster Varadarajan as the president, who was a real servant leader. He used to set an example to meetings. He used to be present always. He never failed even a single meeting when he was the president. He used to be very meticulous in all his activities. And from him, the baton was handed over to me. I learned all these lessons from everyone. However, my term started with the challenges of Medley's strength drastically reducing and even losing a place to conduct our meeting. As I used to repeatedly say in all the meetings. So with the support of the then VP Jayanti and the area governor Sundaraman and many other members as well as role players, we somehow managed to conduct 25 meetings. And we made it a point that in every meeting we conduct one education session, because of which people started getting newer interest in being Toastmasters. Our strength increased from nowhere to a very recognizable place. And then all the officers, they got so motivated and they became leaders by themselves. They became presidents and led Medley to its glory. We have won Golden Gavels. We have won Pirates of the Caribbean Award. We have won President Distinguished Award. We had numerous area governors, division governors, even a district governor coming out of our club. And thus, Medley has seen variety of presidents with their variety of leadership style with which the club grew to its current zenith today. Thank you very much, DTM Thomas. Over to you.
Sir, I would request you to just add a couple of sentences as the grand angle for the young generation to know that was the period when we were hand to mouth. We were hand to mouth. It's good that we know that also. Could you please?
I should. Sorry, I forgot to mention this name. There was one Toastmaster called Apuru Mittal, who was a treasurer. For first 4 months, all the visit club, it was not Gandhinagar club, we hired a place called 13 Minutes, who used to charge some 700, 800 rupees for the meeting. Even we did not have that money. Apuru Mittal used to spend from his credit card, and we did not have authorization to withdraw money from the bank due to some administrative reasons. It was people like him. And Jayanti used to host all our Execom meeting at her home. She used to serve snacks and coffee apart from discussing the agenda. And we used to have that kind of, we all decided to bring it back. So we were so bad at that time that we joined in. We used to participate in every area, not as contestant, as role players. Every area contest, division contest, district contest, there will be at least 5 to 6 people from Medley. So we were well recognized in the district, and people started pulling Medley peoples to all such roles. Key roles, even at district level, though it may not be the top recognized roles, for all second in command roles, we were recognized. So Medley grew up in its reputation.
Thank you very much, sir.
By participating in those events.
No, I wanted this new generation to know the legacy in all its facets. Thank you very much for adding that aspect.
Thank you.
Now we move on to the next ruler of this empire was DTM Sunil Jose, former area director and assistant district chief judge. He had a long stint in the ExCom before ascending to the throne in 2016. Over to you, DTM Sunil.
Thank you. What's my time, sir?
Same. 2.5.
I have 5 terms, sir, actually. Anyway, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm just saying Aishwarya there. Yeah, okay. Okay, so thank you for prompting me to dig into my emails and find out what happened during my time. In fact, 2014 January, I was joined as a secretary under our DTM Guru Prasad. I was a secretary. Then I think Guru understood I didn't perform well. So next year again, as a punishment, I think he recommended, and I became a secretary again during Sarathi's time. Under Toastmaster Sarathi, I was a secretary for the second time. I think again I proved myself. I don't know, maybe under Paranthaman in 2015 January to June, I was a VPM, and I was lucky. And I'm proud to say that the person who's asking question joined during the time when I was a VP membership. Thanks. It's all God's blessings. Okay. And in 2015, I wanted to specifically say at the time period from 2015 July, that is when I was a VP Education under Toastmaster Ramalingam was the president. The exact period of the active things started, and till 2016 July, when I was till then I was 2016 Jan to June I was the president. 15 June to December I was a VP Education. Even before that, we had two visionaries. I should mention one is Toastmaster Jayanti, who started the video recording of the entire meeting procedure, and second is Toastmaster DTM Satish Kumar, who many of you know, and he is the person who actually made the club looking for people to take roles to a situation where people were queuing up for to roles. That was an amazing guy, or I should say that. But in 2015, during my when Ramalingam was the president, something happened. Like, he is another visionary. He changed the timing from 2:50 to 3 o'clock to 2:55, and the attendance has gone around 40 to 50% on time.
Wow.
And then the another thing which we did, like we understood that we had a lot of people in Toastmasters itself who can give very good sessions. We tried to bring in all of them. We brought Hegde, Sabin Hegde, Gautam Sharma, Sridhar, and CK, and all these people. I think I'm yellow. I have to say something which I want to say. Like in 2016, January to June, when I was the president, I remember 2 consecutive terms, we had 60 members renewing. I mean, 100% renewal in 2 terms continuously. We had 60 base membership, and we managed. It's not my thing. It's there was a lot of people behind that. And another thing I want to say, the person is here. We had a contest where we had semi-final and final in Medley, where Toastmaster Kalyan was the chair, and we had 21 members in the international speech contest.
Yes.
And that was one. And Toastmaster Kalyan, I will still remember that he started his leadership career there. And 2 more things, I'll just finish it. Where was the JTP conducted judges training program where had 45 attendees. And there was and we declared #1 club in Tamil Nadu in that year. And in all district 82, we were #2, and in Tamil Nadu alone, we were #1. And one thing which we always forget, but I want to tell something, like VPPR Arvind brought out a 70-page newsletter when he was a VP Public Relations VP in 2016. And then we had this. Okay, I think these are all summary based on, I mean, within the time. Thank you for so much for the opportunity. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, DTM Sunil. This is true inspiration, which is not written in the history of Medley. I think we should all know. Great inspiration for the new generation. Thank you very, very much. We are indebted to you. Then followed the era of Toastmaster Kalyan, who went on to become a distinguished division director, and he also had 3 terms in the ExCom during 2016-17. Over to you, Toastmaster Kalyan.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Thomas. See, to me, my president days were very vivid days, because that is what really I started giving speeches. That was my presidential address. My presidential swearing in installation ceremony started with a pressure. You know why? That then club growth director Suganti Periyasamy hands over a check and then becomes a member of that particular club. The moment the meeting is over, everybody said, man, the whole district is going to watch your club, your presidentship. Every meeting will be counted. Every meeting will be recorded. Then there was a pressure. Oh my God, what is happening? But beautifully, all I did was I simply followed what the legacy which Medley built on. We had a legacy. I never tried to improve on anything. I tried the legacy, simply tweaked few things which you could not. As Guru mentioned, because I was a party to it. I went to one particular meeting at Koturpuram. All of these people were searching something. I asked why they're all collecting some money to pay for a room. To conduct a meeting. I saw that. I thought, I asked, can I volunteer? No, you are a guest, you don't volunteer. Then I understood, say these people paid from their pockets. Then when I took in, I saw the bursary, it was some 65,000 rupees. So me and then my friend and he's my guide there in Medley Toastmasters, Aravind, my previous president. I was a VP and Aravind was a president. I took over from Aravind. See, what happened was the pressure was the most vibrant time of Medley was at Sunil Joseph's term. Then Sunil Joseph's protege, Aravind, comes and then becomes a president. And then I take over that. It was a terrible pressure, but believe me, what do you call? The support I got from all these people, Medlians, to me personally, there was a golden era. From 60,000, we decided we will make the club kitty to 5 lakhs. Fellow Medlians will know what is, do you guys know what is the amount which we have in our club today? We conducted speech crafts, we worked on. Few things, we strived for one thing, we decided to have a 2-year continuity. So what we did, we as an ExCom, I saw Sunil conducting his ExCom meetings. How Sunil will do is, as soon as the meeting is over, he'll come down, stand in that Gandhinagar club, and that particular car park, I mean the 2-wheeler parking, these guys will have their ExCom meeting. So I simply followed that. Every meeting, once every meeting is over, we will have an ExCom meeting. Every week, there will be an ExCom meeting. So what happens when the district will suddenly ask for a golden gavel formats, nothing to be worked on or cooked on. We have an ExCom meeting every week, after a meeting. So simply we used to send one particular thing to it. So we worked for 2 years. That is what I vividly remember. What happened was we worked for 2-year roadmap, which means my surgeon at arms will become a president. It happened at Medley actually. So I was a president, my surgeon at arms became a president. That roadmap we formed, and that clearly came in. So other things of having the regular every education session, Golden Gavel, and then one more thing we planned we planned in my VP's term, which I also steered, was to make Medley Toastmasters the #1 club in Tamil Nadu. We end up going there. We become 3rd in the district. These plan, everything happened at Medley purely with fellow Medleyans' help. I always say, when you become a president of Medley, it's something like you become we call it in Tamil, no, with the Urulam for a Sami Mari. People will put you on a pedestal, they will simply carry you and then take you to masses. That's what Medley is all about. Thank you, Thomas.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Again, another inspiring installment from the Middle Ages, or is it the early? Okay, I think we'll call it the Middle Ages. Next, yeah, his successor, Toastmaster Kalyan's successor was Toastmaster Ram Prasad, the current area C3 director. He also, exactly as Kalyan said, he also had 3 terms in the XCOM during 1718. Over to you, Toastmaster Ram, please.
Thank you so much, DTM Thomas. So as Kalyan said, so I was fortunate to work with those visionaries when I joined Medley in 2017. So I was just having no idea what is XCOM and what is all these things about. I was just blabbering in one table topic saying, so I was not so much aware of these XCOM roles. Otherwise, I should have applied for the BPPR role, which I was more interested to do in the particular team. So that was remembered by the people. And after 6 months, when there was an XCOM election, when I was interested to do for the BPPR, and for some reason I have asked to do the BPM role. When I started the BPM role, the first thing which I heard, Ram, you learn for the next 1 year, you need to be the president in next 2 terms. So that is what I hear from the people. This is how the people mitigate what are the things are happening, and they wanted to help the successor, and they wanted to create the successor for Medley. That is how the leads and the visionaries were doing it, all my terms. So mainly I would like to talk about my presidential term. That was where everyone remembers, that is a 500 meeting. More than that, 499th meeting is also my favorite. So we had our 499th meeting in Writers Cafe. So that was one of the meeting every Medlians were enjoying, and the high tea which we had in the Writers Cafe restaurant, and everyone were talking about we need at least one such meeting in every term. So the people were really enjoying not only the meeting and of the conversation, over the high tea which we had. So that was so memorable thing which I remember in my term. And as well as of course the 500th meeting, we had the panel discussion, and we had DTM Meena John, Ma'am Rajesh Natarajan, our division director Gayatri, and Jay Narayan was part of those panel discussion led by you, DTM Thomas. So that was one memorable thing. And we, at the highlighted thing, we had the Otto Annadurai speech. People were waiting till 6:30. So we were asked to leave the hall by force by the people, but still people don't want to leave. And we had a wonderful session by Otto Annadurai, and that was one of the best thing we had. Of course, and
Ram,
yes.
may I? Yeah, sure. Ram.
Yes,
yeah, anything more? Yeah, sorry, I interrupted you. Please complete.
Yes, sir. I just wanted to finish it. I was so fortunate to work with 3 youngsters who are just didn't came out from the college. They were the final year students of at that time. So I was fortunate to work with those XCOM. Without those people, I may not have succeeded in my terms. Yeah.
Thanks a
Thank you,
lot,
sir.
Ram. Thanks a lot, Ram, because I think I might have to surrender some time. Okay. So then what happened? Then, like Kalyan said, happened the arrival of Superwoman DTM Sugandhi Periswamy, and she took over as the president of Medley in 2020. To say this correctly, she is a former district director, currently Region 13 advisor, the first from District 120 and the first from Medley to scale this height. Over to you, DTM Sugandhi.
Thank you, DTM Thomas. Congratulations to fellow Medleyans as we celebrate our 625th milestone meeting. Like my predecessors, I think I was not fortunate enough to climb through the various steps in the XCOM ladder of Medley, because I think I'm the only president who served only as the president of Medley during my tenure. I got associated with Medley from January 2010 onwards, when I attended the first meeting at Medley for the 75th milestone meeting. And I have had the privilege of being very closely mentored by our past president, whom I look up to as a fatherly figure and my mentor, Toastmaster Tyagarajan sir. So it was Toastmaster Tyagarajan sir who brought me quite often into Medley, that people around thought that I'm actually a formal Medley member, although I became a formal member only in 2017 onwards. Such was my close association with Medley. And most of the presidents that Guru Prasad sir mentioned, I've had the pleasure of collaborating with them, learning from them. And it was Medley who taught me what resilience and perseverance is all in Toastmasters. Because we traveled from Adyar to Koturpuram, Anna Centenary Library, back to 30 minutes in Adyar to IIT Madras, and then eventually we found a place in Adyar Gandhinagar Club. So today when I see Medley, I'm really very happy that I got an opportunity to serve as a president, especially when we were all blessed with the COVID pandemic, because that gave us an opportunity where we unleashed our potential. Because I think as a president, I was so happy to give up the time that the club used to give for presidential address so that we could accommodate an additional speech slot. I think that was a time, if I look back, members came forward, they wanted to learn, deliver speeches, take role plays. I still remember there was a contention for speech slots and role plays during that tenure. I'm so happy that although there was pandemic, there was challenges, we as Toastmasters, we rose to the occasion and we made the best out of it, because I think that was a term where we had 2 meetings in a week. So thanks to my wonderful XCOM, we had members like Sharanya, they who were very quiet but contributed in their own lovely ways. We had pioneers like DTM Thomas, John Jaikumar, and of course we had very humble people who were also part of the extended committee like Ramesh Murugan, Shankar, and so on. So it was a time that all of us could collaborate, and I think it was, if I look back at my tenure, I think Medley talks about what being together as a family to support each other, not only as Toastmasters, as family members, is what I fondly will remember during my term as the president. Over to DTM Thomas.
Brilliant. Thank you, ma'am. You reminded me of the time when I had to throw up my hands, not being able to manage 4 speeches planned at one time, to the immediate weekend and to the weekend after that. Till then, you had wonderful connections that allowed us to have joint meetings. That way we overcame Corona. I remember that. I hope timer will give me my 2.5 minutes. Quickly, I'll run through the last part. This is July to December 2020, though I was in the XCOM for 3 terms. Medley crossed 2 milestones, 575 and 600, the same term, which is a measure of the members' enthusiasm. You will agree with me. We used to have Sunday meetings. We used to have speakathons. We had 3 joint meetings, 2 debates, and Medleyans are so generous, and DTM Gayatri will bear this out. We always let the visiting Toastmasters win the debates. We had themed meetings such as 600, Independence Day. We celebrate these kind of things with anthems, either medley anthem or the national anthem. We had a total of 15 visiting Toastmasters performing pre-planned meeting roles, not counting debaters. We introduced surprise sessions to break the monotony. It's the army regimented, right? So that gave us an opportunity to talk about master evaluation, mini education, book review, and whatnot. We added 10 new members in the 6 months, which to me is an endorsement of the meeting quality marked by a high level of punctuality, thanks to the efficient role play by Medlians, as a mark of respect to the audience's time, which they richly deserve. Medley's newsletter and Medlian of the Month award made a comeback, and we refunded. I'm sure Sugandhi would remember this too. We refunded 1,000 rupees to members at the renewal time because we had saved money. That's one spin-off from COVID. Financials were made ready within a couple of weeks as the term ended. I'm also glad that we initiated the formalization of club bylaws, giving the future ExComs a firm ground to work on. So this was the last 6 months as I remember it. So here you have the capsule, the time capsule. I thank the past presidents for giving us this entry, this quick entry into the storehouse of wonderful history. Over to you, TMOD. Thank you very much, my audience.
Thank you, Thomas Abraham, for taking us through the nostalgic journey of Medley. Time management, discipline, leadership qualities, these are the hallmark for Medley's success. And I'm very sure the future presidents also would be able to take a cue from here. Now, we have gone through a nostalgic and interesting journey. Now it's time to play games, right? So let us play a game with our second family. Michael Jordan once mentioned, just play, have fun, and enjoy the game. So for this game, let us put our hands to welcome Game Master Shruti Prakash. Shruti is a recent joinee in Medley and currently pursuing chemical engineering in SSN College of Engineering. Please put your hands to welcome Toastmaster Shruti Prakash.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saravanan. Hello, everyone. This is Toastmaster Shruti. We have had magnificent keynote speakers and a first-class set of our own presidents share their views. Now, as Toastmaster Saravanan mentioned, it's our fun time. To this festive occasion, we as Medlians should sprinkle just a bit of merrymaking. The game that we are going to play today is Who is Most Likely To. As you might have guessed from the name, we are going to make out the most likely person in the scenario. The game goes something like this. We post questions that begin with the phrase, who is most likely to, and the person most likely to fit in that scenario is one of our own Medley members. The questions will be randomly posted to the audience, and you, as the audience, will have to guess the answers to each question and shout out the name as to who you think is the most likely to that particular question. To spice up the game, the person so decreed by the audience gets to answer another question, say a bonus question of sorts, as asked by me, the game master. If we have more than one member put forth, then the junior most member gets the bonus question. The game intends to understand and acknowledge our second family's quirks and have great fun in the process. In the spirit of fun, joy, and merrymaking, I request all of you to participate and in turn have great fun knowing ourselves just a bit better. To the audience, are you ready?
Yes.
Ready.
So here's the first question. Who is most likely to win awards for the best facial expressions?
Atishay.
Atishay? Any
Guru.
others?
Guru.
Guru. Sorry?
Priyadarshini.
Guru Prasad.
Priyadarshini?
DTM Guru Prasad.
Okay. So now, as I mentioned, the junior most member, Toastmaster Atishay, here's your bonus question. Toastmaster Atishay, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. So what, in your opinion, is one of the most beautiful expressions of a human?
Laughter.
That's
anytime it's laughter, and everyone's laughter is different, right? You just can't laugh the same. So yeah.
That's a very interesting, no, it's very intriguing thing to say. I have always considered a smile, but this certainly adds itself to the catalog that I've prepared in my head. Okay, so our second.
Sorry to intrude. I exactly lost my internet connection for that period. We announced the question. May I know what was the question?
You are there anyway.
Question was, sir, so no problem. I am always willing to repeat. Who is most likely to win awards for the best facial expressions? Your name definitely came up, sir. At least by 3 or 4 members.
You can't recommend yourself.
You won, but you were not there to take the bonus
Yeah.
question. So I took
No,
it
I
on
just
your
listened
behalf.
to Siganti mentioning my name, but I was surprised. What is it?
I also mentioned your name.
Don't worry, sir. Your name will definitely come in the set of questions that I have somewhere or the other.
Yeah,
You have
wait
made your
and watch.
stand.
Yeah.
You have made your mark, sir. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so to our audience, the second question: who is most likely to win an ISC contest without any practice?
DTM Thomas.
DTM Thomas. DTM Thomas.
Thomas, sir, you have a very uniform vote. No quarrels, no debates, nothing. So your question, sir, what topic will you talk about if you get an opportunity to talk for a minute? And ISC goes for 5 minutes, but I figured 1 minute should do the job here.
I will talk about Medley, the club I love most.
Oh,
So you touched my heart. Touched my
my
heart.
God. I'm emotional, sir.
Like I said, touched my heart. Totally.
Relevant, Sunil.
Good point. Good point. Okay, our third question. Hopefully a varied answer. Who is most likely to sing a fantastic song? We all personally put effort, hence a varied answer. Oh, but Jagan sir definitely wins.
I'll give a varied answer. It was Priya Darshini.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, her voice was amazing in that whole record. Oh my goodness.
Raghu?
Jagan
How
sir,
about
are you-
Raghu? Raghu?
Raghu does it too.
Kalyan?
Raghu does it too.
Kalyan?
Both Raghus.
No, professionals are banned in the list. Talk about
Yeah,
America.
exactly. That's what,
professional.
professionals. Me and Guru would have come in a different way. No?
You
Sir,
kept
you
me out.
submitted your thing to ARR, sir. What
Yes.
happened?
Yes, we're waiting. After the meeting, I'm just leaving.
Okay, now this question I have to ask Jagan sir because he coordinated the whole medley anthem for the second time, not just once, twice. So Jagan sir, what is your favorite music album?
Thank God.
Ironically,
Album,
I've not listened to albums much. Complete album. One album I recently tried to listen is the 96 movie. It's just so beautiful to listen by Govinda Vasanta. I just can't believe he made it.
Wow, okay. I was expecting Roja or A.R. Rahman's 90s hits or something.
He was
but
not born that
because
time.
yeah. But that is, I will give that a try, sir. Thank you for recommending another album to me.
Till we
Okay,
release Medley Anthem.
Medley Anthem. Okay,
No,
yeah,
not anthem,
that is
album.
separate. As long as it did not, it has to make to the films. No, it did not
No,
make the films, or it was not
I'm saying
rendered.
about Medley album, not the anthem.
Medley album only. As long as we render it in a professional environment, I don't think I'm going to consider that. Though
Okay.
it's one of the closest songs, given the effort we all 18 people put in it.
Sure.
Okay, our fourth question, I would say, who is most likely to beat Shashi Tharoor at English?
Thomas Abraham, obviously.
Tyagarajan.
Okay, Tyagarajan sir got the most hits, so he goes. But the rules were to ask the junior most member. Now, who do I ask? I'll ask both of you. What is your favorite word in the whole of the dictionary, Thomas sir?
I.
Thank God it was not a huge word that I would not have to reproduce. Thank you, sir. Our next question. Who is most likely to come up with the most innovative speech titles?
Jagan?
Pirates. Jagan.
Sorry? Jagan sir and Narasimhan. Okay.
You'll have to make
but I
him a
don't think-
member. You'll have to make him a
Medley
member.
members. Exactly. Thank you, sir. So, Medley member, Jagan sir and Anybody else? Okay, so Jagan sir, here's your second bonus question. What is your favorite title of any speech, be it by anybody or yourself, or at any given stage? What would be your favorite title?
My title, once I gave a speech, Fair and Lovely. So that was my title.
I remember that. I remember that. That was amazing. Both the speech and the title. It stood out, I would say. Okay, so our next question. Who has the best, who's most likely to have the best voice modulation in a speech?
I would like to go Atishay and Jagan. Both.
Okay. Somebody.
I would say
Atishay.
Priya was.
Atishay.
Yeah.
Okay, Atishay, here's your second question. Who is your favorite singer? Because the voice modulation comes from bathroom singing or public singing. And
Right.
I have not seen you on a stage, so I'll assume bathroom singing.
Right. My favorite singer, I like to listen to Kishore songs. Like it's old, but I like to listen to those.
Old is good, don't worry.
Yeah.
Kishore.
Kishore.
His Bengali renditions or Hindi?
Hindi.
Hindi.
I don't know Bengali much, so if I can't sing it in the bathroom, then what's the point?
Good. That's kind of fair point. Okay, so here's our next question. Who's most likely to love classical music in the whole of Medley?
Ranga.
Sampath Soilrajan.
Sampath.
Sampath.
DTM Sampath.
Dr.
Sampath sir. Sampath sir, are you there?
Yes.
So who would be your favorite classical composer? Composer, not a singer, composer.
Talking about India only, right? Indian classical music.
Yes, sir.
Of course, without doubt, Saint Tyagaraja.
Your, I wouldn't know what to call it, but that's, wow, that's actually, I know a few Kirtane, so I was able to recognize him. Otherwise, no, I would have absolutely no way to recognize that. Okay, so our next question. Who is most likely to spend all their money on buying pathway courses?
VNS.
VNS, sir.
Yes.
VNS, sir, are you here?
No.
Oh.
No, okay. So Thomas, sir, would you take up the bonus question?
Sure. Can I give
What
it to
was-
somebody? Can I gift it to somebody?
Yes, sir,
Ah,
definitely.
Okay.
And you would be gifting it to whom, sir?
To Aishwarya.
Okay, Aishwarya, our dear new timer.
Yeah.
Okay, this question doesn't really suit, but because I was planning on asking what was your favorite pathway, given if you have, okay, so who would be your favorite teacher, fictional teacher or anything of the sort?
Gopal. He is my mentor, and also he, my colleague. He really speaks to me well, and yeah, many stories we will speak. He's a good person.
Gopal is the next Medleyan. Hooray.
Okay. Okay, regrettably, our final question for the session. Who is most likely to, answer the fastest? Answer the fastest given any question.
Shruti.
Sir.
Main cut session. Kalyan. I've seen you
Kalyan,
guys
sir.
answer very quick today.
Kalyan, sir.
Prasad.
Shruti.
So
Everyone
do I
chorus says Shruti. Everyone says Shruti.
This is Bongavela. This is
Shruti.
Bongavela. Okay, so do I ask myself the question and answer the question?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so the question that I had prepared was, what is the most asked question to me personally? I would say, how do you pronounce your name? Because nobody has ever got it right on the first go. Despite being one of the most common names in India, nobody has ever gotten my name correct in the first go at least. Well, it pains my heart to say that we have come to the end of this amazing game. This game has been great fun and a complete eye-opener. I came to know a lot of new things about our new members. This is a new and old members. This, I now realize, is quite the mischief-making material, I would say, that we can later sit back and laugh out loud and just enjoy. I actually thank everyone profusely for their ardent participation, making it an amazing joyride. Thank you. I now hand it back to Toastmaster Saravanan. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shruti, for the interesting as well as intriguing session. You may be the best arrow in the world, but still you need the best bow to set you in the right direction. For District 120, we have the district trio to provide us with the right direction. Now it's time for us to hear from the district trio. We are glad to have Toastmaster Praveen Mani with us, our district director. He's a Toastmaster for the past 10 plus years. He has been the past area and division director. He was awarded as the Star Division Director for the year 2015-2016. And he is the founder and CEO of WinBytes Technologies Private Limited, an IT services organization. And he has 10 plus years of corporate experience. Presenting to you, District Director Praveen Mani.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster of the Day, Saravanan, for having me here. Mr. President, Toastmaster Raghunath Nair, Region Advisor for Region 13, Distinguished Toastmaster Sugandhi Periyasamy, my fellow district officers and members of Medley Toastmasters Club, the Medleyans. Good evening and congratulations on achieving your milestone meeting. I did join a little late, but I joined at the right time when Sunil was talking about the accomplishment, the impact made by the past leaders of Medley, and it was really heartening to listen to Sunil on that note. I personally feel that the frequent of the milestone meeting in Medley Toastmasters happens more than the number of times Kalyan goes for a coffee break. I don't know how many of you know how often Kalyan's goes for a coffee break. I mean, having worked with him in conference in the past, we start the meeting with the coffee, we run the meeting with the coffee and end the meeting with the coffee. That's the amount of time he goes for a coffee break. And I was surprised to see Shruti not having that in her questionnaire. But rightly said by distinguished Toastmaster Thomas Abraham that it only shows the Medleyan's enthusiasm in terms of running these many number of milestone meetings. A big round of applause to each and every one of you for continuously putting a best show in Toastmasters journey, even during this challenging times. Today, in this milestone meeting, I would like to share an anecdote with you all, a cliched one. Generally, it is shared in the corporate workforce, among the corporate workforce. Technically to a Salesforce team. It goes like this. So he was a merchant who took two of his Salesforce team to a district in Tamil Nadu. He took them to this district and he called one of the Salesforce team member and said, go to the nearby villages and get me a report of how many people here we can sell the footwear to, because he was a merchant who was selling footwear. So this guy goes around the villages nearby the district and comes back with a frown face, and then tells his the owner that, no, I think we have come to a very wrong place. Nobody here wears a footwear. So we have lost all the plot that we had in mind. The owner being owner, he smiles and he calls the other Salesforce member who has not listened to this entire conversation. He calls this individual and says, I want you to go and check out the same villages which this person has went and give me a report on the market there. And the other person was little let down. He said, are you testing my skill set here? Because even I'm an experienced salesperson. The owner said casually, please remain calm for some time. Let this guy go and get back with his report. So the other guy goes to the nearby villages and comes back with a smiling face and tells, you know what? Nobody here wears a footwear, which means we can sell our footwear to every individual in this village that is around us. The reason why I'm sharing this anecdote here, because it is the positive approach that matters the most, especially in the challenging times, and Medley is a testimony for that. We have seen clubs in our district. Even now, we come from as a trio. We come from a review meeting. We see clubs struggling to conduct meetings, citing the same reason that we all know, it is pandemic, it's challenging times. But it all boils down to the leadership team of a club. If the leader is positive in the approach, if the members are positive, I think even during challenging times, conducting a milestone meeting with a beautiful agenda like what you have is an easy option for all of us. I think for that note, I'd like to really appreciate and thank Medley Toastmasters Club for being the testimony and leading the show, all the other clubs in our district in the right direction. I think I am hopeful that this will be the last milestone meeting for this entire term. I don't think so there'll be another milestone between before the next term starts. So I think I would like to thank all the Medleyans for your support that you have provided for the district. I know many members here, Kalyan, who's been the mentor of Hindustan Toastmasters Club, Guru Prasad, part of Club Road team, Sampath Saurirajan, who's supporting the mentor pool team. So there are many people here supporting the district. I think I would like to thank each and every one of you for the support that you've offered to the district so far. And I'm sure that you will continue the same Toastmaster spirit in the coming years to come. With that note, I once again thank you all for having me invited to this milestone meeting. Wishing you all the success in your Toastmasters journey ahead, and wish you all to be safe and healthy in times like this. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Praveen Mani. Thanks for your interesting insights as well as importance of having a positive approach as well. Next up, we have the address from our Program Quality Director, Toastmaster Satish Menon. Toastmaster Satish Menon is one of the co-founders of Third World Solutions Private Limited, an IT solutions and services organization established in the year 1995 with 5 individuals and now has close to 600 plus resources. He has been a Toastmaster since 2013 and has risen up the ranks from a club level to area, division, and district level. He has been a star area director and a president distinguished division director. He has been the conference co-chair for Reverberation 2017 and co-conference for Ovation 2019. He was the club growth director for District 82 last year and is now the program quality director for District 120. It is a pleasure to invite Toastmaster Satish Menon to this virtual stage.
Thank you, Toastmaster Saravanan, and a very good afternoon to all Medleyans present here on the 625th milestone meeting. 625 is just not a number. That's what I've heard over the past couple of hours. It's been a collection of experiences and learnings of all the members put together that's made Medley such a vibrant club in District 120. When we look at from a district perspective, and that's what we've been seeing with my district director and club growth director, as well as the division directors and area directors, there is one thing that stands out. If you look at Toastmasters International data, which is there on the Toastmasters International website, that most of the districts in the Indian subcontinent, though they will rank very high in terms of new member additions and distinguished clubs, we are among the lowest when it comes to member retention. The average age of our members in our clubs is, I don't think, more than 3 years. So what are we losing? On one hand, we are saying we are adding, but on the other hand, the door is open for people to leave. And in an organization like Toastmasters, that is the worst thing that can happen. Because if experienced members start leaving the fraternity, if they are not there to kind of contribute what they have learned and share that with new members who are coming in, there is no way a district can grow. And there's no way a division can go, there's no way an area can grow, and there's no way a club can grow. So when I look at clubs like Medley and you're celebrating your 625th milestone, it gives us a glimmer of hope to say that, well, there are clubs in this district who can be the role model for other clubs and members who can help the district to get better on retention. Because we as an organization, when we say we, Toastmasters as an organization, it's an educational organization. We are not a commercial enterprise. Okay? So we are here to kind of make people learn, to help people get the best of what they are wanting to get out of Toastmasters, which is primarily building up their skills, which is communication, training, communication, leadership, networking. Okay? It's a purely educational enterprise. In an educational enterprise, retention of members, experienced members coming out to help others, and building the next set of leaders and making every individual feel important at a club meeting. So when members walk out of a club meeting, they feel that I am walking out as a better person compared to what I was when I walked in. That should be the motto. And that is something as a district that we are working on. We are not expecting any overnight success in all of this because this will take a lot of time. But a good thing to see in this year is that we are still talking about mid of May. We already have 2 divisions who have become President's Distinguished, 1 division has become Select Distinguished, and there are 2 others who are in line to get that accolade. 79 clubs have already become distinguished or above. And in all of these 79, none of us in the trio have gone and done any helicopter policing in any of these clubs to say, file your educational awards or do this or do that. No. We have only shown them that this is the way that you can do things in a better manner. They have gone and done it, and the results are there for everybody to see. That's the kind of culture that we want to bring about, a culture of inclusion, a culture where people share their knowledge, a culture where people feel that they have to stay in the system. Because only when that happens will individuals thrive, clubs thrive, areas, division, district will thrive. And that is where clubs like Medley come as role models to other clubs to say, if you can do 25 meetings and go beyond, why can't others do it? Because end of the day, we are all Toastmasters. And we all learn from each other. Like somebody, Toastmaster Ram Prasad mentioned the quote about Michael Jordan about enjoying the game. I would also want to say the same thing about Toastmasters. Enjoy the journey. The results will follow, but don't let the enjoyment go out of the learning. Thank you. All the very best and happy Toastmastering. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Satish Menon, for sharing the importance of retention as well as sustainability. Let me now introduce you to the Club Growth Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Pathasarathi. Toastmaster DTM Pathasarathi has been a Toastmaster since 2006. He started his journey as Sergeant at Arms, Secretary, Vice President Education, President, Area Governor, and Division Governor. He is the charter member of DXC Chennai chapter. He is a computer science engineer, certified project management professional, and he is working with DXC Technology as a project lead. Presenting to you, Club Growth Director, DTM Pathasarathi.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Saravanan. Omodetto gozaimasu, Medley Toastmasters. Now you'll be wondering why I'm speaking Japanese. Because yesterday I figured out it's very difficult to say something new after Praveen and Satish speaks. So I figured out the best thing would be to use something in Japanese. And I think Praveen is already trying to learn some new things in Japanese. Dear Medlians and well-wishers of Medlians, congratulations on your 625th milestone meeting. 625 is a special number. Of course, it's a milestone number, but if you have also realized, it is the 5th square number in terms of the milestone numbers. 25, 100, 225, 400, and now 625, 25 square, in other words. So it's pretty special that we are at a milestone, which is also a square number. And in all this, what I would say is I did want to talk about something, but when I saw the meeting today, I think everything went out of mind. And whatever I saw was probably a piece, but as they say in Tamil, so just one bit of whatever I saw, I could realize how much you loved Medleys and how much Medleys love you together. I'm reminded of a story or the movie called The Grinch, which I recently saw before the pandemic, obviously. So that was about a person, Grinch, but what he was trying to make sure was to he tried to steal the Christmas presents from the people and wanted people to feel bad about it. And surprising, the next day when he went on top of the mountain and he saw the village people, how they reacted, he saw that everybody were simply happy and they were still dancing and singing along. Then he realized that it is never, even though you can take off gifts or anything materialistic out of people's life, you can never take happiness out of it. I think we are all in a very similar situation, dear friends, in a world where we are surrounded or fully that we hear about news which have a very sometimes very depressing effect. What is that we can share with our own friends? We would not want to share our low moments with everybody, but definitely our joyful moments, our happiness is something which we can share. And Toastmasters is one such forum where we are able to keep our best sense of mind as well as our happiness together and share across everybody. And I see Toast Medley as a perfect testimony for that as well. So you are there where we are sharing your best moments and enjoying that together. And not only that, you're also helping, you're supporting the district in many different ways. And we have a variety of leaders to name a few: distinguished Toastmaster Sugantika Peryaswamy, Toastmaster Kalyan, distinguished Toastmaster Guru Prasad, Thomas Abraham. And again, I didn't want to miss anybody in particular, but there's a lot of people who are very good friends, but not just friends, but they're friends to the entire Toastmasters community. So great job, Medlians. Enjoy your wonderful day, and can you continue keep enjoying your days forward, and all the best to you. Again, Gambate Kudasai. Back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, DTM Parthasarathi. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the entire district trio for sharing your inspiring insights and direction. Now, coming back to the theme, family time. No amount of money or success can take place the time spent with family. But is the family free? No. Everybody is occupied. Whether the husbands, wife, the children, everybody is occupied. Children are doing their online classes. Everybody is doing their work from home. Maids are not coming. So we are all doing our cooking, cleaning, washing, etc. And everybody is busy one way or other. But this time also will pass. And what we have to do here is be aware, be present, and hold our loved ones a little tighter. So family time is the only way to do that. And with this, we have come to the end of the session for the Milestone meeting. And I would like to hand over to the President to conclude the proceedings. Over to the President.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Sharunan. And thank you so very much for such a wonderful Milestone meeting with so much of energy. And as Rashmi said, that it's always good to be with a team of positive energy, which gets you back with that positive energy with you for that whole evening and the weekend. I'd like to thank the TMODs, Amita, Atishay, and Sharunan for stringing that event so softly. And my dear role players, you were too fantastic. Starting with the TMODs, our senior Medlians like DTM Sinul, DTM Thomas, for once again leaving an imprint on that event, and to our youngsters like Toastmaster Shruti, who brought in that extra energy, which is like contagious. And of course, Aishwarya taking up the role of a timer as a first-time timer and doing it to the best, and that too in a milestone event. Really enjoyed the variety. I'd like to thank our keynote speaker, Rashmi and Chandu, for taking their time and giving their perspective of following the rainbow and the importance of staying relevant. Thank you, District Trio, the Area Director and Division Director Prakash, for that, and to all the wonderful role players. And I also like to thank the other district officials, our past Director DTM Meena John, DTM Gayatri, and our past area leaders like DTM Sunil and Kalyan. And thank you once again for our Region 13 advisor, DTM Sugandhi, for being part of most of the meeting and encouraging the team. I wish to thank all our guest Toastmasters and future Toastmasters for counting Medley's meeting worth a visit. Lots of planning, thoughts, and iteration made this the mega online show for our milestone meeting number 625. Special thanks to Jagan for all his patience in making even some of the Medlians record their singing for the first time. And Amita for that video editing along with your sister. And I also must thank the ExCom for their full support and advice, especially I miss Ranga at this particular time. Not the last, I also would like to thank Prakash, audition director. He was supposed to be here to give the feedback about the meeting, but he just now called and said that he will not be able to attend. But he has left with me a message that the Medley has crossed their points in achieving the golden gavel for this term also. The whole thing, and it goes to the complete Medlians. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm not closing this meeting. We'll take a break of 10 minutes. Now it is 4:50. We're almost closing as per the agenda. I will take a 10 minutes break, and we're going to have, I will request all the members to stay, because we're going to have a session for the electing the next term leaders. And our election officer is none other than our Region 13 advisor and past president, DPM Suganti. We'll go for a small 10 minutes break and come back exactly at 5 p.m. and go for the election. Thank you so much. Thank you for all this.